So the beautiful thing about this Toph show is adapting to circumstances on the fly. And the circumstances today are I forgot to message someone to ask them to create a new version of the overlay that has 3 little boxes instead of 2. So instead of throwing ZAIN right front and center, right on top of us.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. And we've made some improvements. Bobby got an Ethernet cable. Bobby has proper internet now.
Shout out to Ben SW.
Yeah, honestly. When did he get there, dude? Like recently.
Literally 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, okay. That's what I would have guessed. That's what I would have guessed.
I can actually look at the exact time that he called me.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Did you even know he was coming over?
No.
I should have probably told you. Oh, I didn't know either. I literally didn't know either.
11:53 he was here.
That's wild.
It's currently 12:19.
Yeah.
It was not a pleasant surprise, I'll tell you.
It was not a pleasant surprise.
It was not a pleasant surprise because I was all set up.
Oh, you were set up? Oh, I see.
I'm super happy with my Wi-Fi.
He should have messaged you when he was leaving, or he should have told me,
okay.
"Hey, man, yeah, I'll do it," and then I would have messaged you. But I didn't think he was gonna do it. ZAIN, you're I can't believe we have the pleasure of speaking with the Pound Online champion.
Pound online.
Pound Online champion. The Pound Online champion.
Congrats. I
Thank
actually
you,
didn't
thank
watch, but
I
nicely done.
watched a fair bit of it, I will say.
It was,
I didn't
it
know
was
how to watch it.
it was on VGBC, right?
I think it was on VGBC. Although,
Yeah.
the wonderful thing is nowadays, I go on Twitch, and whoever I want to watch, I just go to their channel.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a crazy thing.
Yeah, I think I watched a fair bit of it. I watched some of it on your channel. I watched, there was a period where I was watching some of it on SFAT's channel.
His was my favorite.
There was a wonderful moment on SFAT's channel that I thought was so hilarious, and no one talked about it after the fact. No one went on Twitter. I thought this was going to be a big deal on Twitter. No one talked about it. I felt like I witnessed something really beautiful and magical, and no one talked about it. So Plup stream has been really thriving.
Yeah.
In quarantine, right? Plup does a lot of online tournaments. Plup's been doing this thing where he'll watch other people playing online tournaments, and he watches Hungrybox, and he does he pops off alongside Hungrybox, right?
So fun.
All this stuff. And there was a tournament where I think HBox got knocked out, and Plup was like sad for HBox or whatever, and he played Claire. He opened up a video on YouTube of Claire de Lune to like.
that song.
Yep, love that song. By the way, still sad we never did that Ocean's 11 theme in Vegas, but whatever. Anyway,
Me too.
yeah. SFAT at Pound Online knocked out Plup from losers, and something like someone came to chat and someone said like, "Oh, Plup's like sad" or something like that, and SFAT's like, so he's like, "Okay, I'm gonna play him a song on the piano," and SFAT has a piano behind him in his room. You can see it.
I've seen it. It's
You
a
see,
big
yeah,
piano.
it's a big piano. It's a big, nice
Yeah.
piano. And SFAT walks over, and I didn't know SFAT was learning how to play the piano, but I guess he knows one song, and it's Claire de Lune. And SFAT
dude.
starts playing Claire de Lune for Plup
After you beat him.
after he beat him.
That's sick.
After he beat him, yeah. And Plup, and I was just like, this is like, I don't know if this is BM or it's
That's
just,
some shit.
That's some shit. Yeah.
It's definitely not BM.
It's
That's all love.
Yeah, if it's a beautiful message, I don't know.
it is a beautiful message,
Yeah.
dude. It's so funny.
Dude,
too,
I
'cause-
tried to learn that song a while ago, and I think I could have if I kept up with it, but it's pretty hard.
Dude, the chords
I
are
wanna
weird, right?
hear,
They're like weird chords. It's like bum bum,
Yeah.
I
bum.
don't know what's
you
on
know?
the piano. It's the Kingdom Hearts. What is that song? Sanctuary?
There's
You know
Sanctuary,
how
there's
that-
Dearly Beloved, dude. Dearly Beloved is so hot.
Yeah, Dearly Beloved is better. Yeah.
I love that song.
Bobby, are you
So
sick at the
good.
piano?
Say what?
Are you like sick at the piano?
No,
But you could play some shit.
not anymore. I think I might take lessons again though.
Ooh.
During quarantine, right? I need something.
How
Plus,
do you-
I'm kind of working through some stuff, and actually, I'm not even kidding. I want to talk to music people because I've never heard anybody talk. Like, okay, so I started learning music theory. It's got a lot to do with distance, musical distance, like from this note to that note, and like timing, and it's like timing and spacing. I don't understand how it could not apply to melee. I don't understand how it couldn't. But I've never heard anybody talk about like that. Anybody who's sick at music and melee, except for DizKid, right? Who just talks
DizKid.
about
That's what I was
pressing the A
thinking of,
button
yeah.
rhythmically.
Dude, dynamics
That's
are.
not what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about something that's like, you know,
Like one thing I always think about, this is like this comes up in everything. It comes up in like first person shooters, like is like the concept, like in first person shooters, the concept of like flicking, which is just like how far you have to move your hand to go a certain distance on the screen, so you don't like line your shot up and then shoot. You just like you flick over to them, you shoot, right? And one of the first things I learned about good piano players is like, you get to a point where you just know how far you need to move your arm to get to the note you want to hit. Wherever your hand is, you just kind of feel the whole piano out. And everything, I feel like everything's like that. Like you get to a point with a familiarity with things where you just kind of like know the distance. Mm-hmm. Yeah. What when you say distance and spacing, Bob, I feel like I'm a music person. I want to talk to you.
There's just certain distances that always sound bad, and like in different keys, there's different, you need to know like where you are, like in the scale or whatever. I don't know that much because I'm not a music theory guy yet, but they're kind of like in a sweet spot or a sour spot or whatever. I don't know. I just feel like it's probably applicable, but maybe I'm wrong because I don't know music theory.
You don't know what you don't know.
I'm assuming that if I knew it deeply, that there would be some sick insights that have to do with Melee, but I don't know.
Yeah, I hear you.
One thing that I think is definitely true, and we're gonna get into. We're live? We're going,
dude.
What is up with it? Scar Toph show. I'm Scar. This is my boy Toph. We got ZAIN here.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk about Super Smash Bros. Melee with one of the new legends.
Yep.
So a meteoric rise.
The
likes of which we've scarcely seen. Would you say so, Toph? I can't think of anybody who's got a.
I would say the witch of the witch of the likes are seen scarcely.
I can't think of another.
I can't either. I don't think it's happening.
There's no Genesis champ who's a postdoc kid.
No.
I'm reading this book again, Master and His Emissary. You heard of that? Did I tell you about that?
No. Tell me about Master and His Emissary.
All right, so like about split brain stuff. Either you know about that split brain patients. Saying you know anything? Are you interested in this kind of thing? You don't think about this kind of thing.
Not really. No.
This is why you're so good. This is why ZAIN's so good. Okay, so our brains are divided. There's a right hemisphere and a left hemisphere, and there's kind of like in the it's divided, like it actually is.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to imagine there's a reason for that, and like pop science has gotten it totally wrong. And so the whole field has been demonized. Like imagine it was like Pikachu before Axe. Like nobody played Pikachu because everybody was like, dude, that character fucking sucks. now that Pikachu's hot, maybe some people are playing him. But you know what I mean? There's like a metagame to science or whatever, and people won't research stuff that they think is low tier.
For sure.
So there's one dude who like studied hemispheric differences in the brain, and like he went hard on it. He's like the Axe, in my opinion, of hemispheric.
This is recent?
He's the AMSA. I don't know how recent. Let's look at when it was published. Master and His Emissary.
I've heard of Master and His Emissary.
I don't know how to find out when books are published.
Oh, Wikipedia. Wait, Wikipedia. I got
Wikipedia would be so much better. I don't see a date on this whole page, Toph.
Are you looking at the PDF or?
Publication
date 30th of October 2009. So 10 years ago.
Pretty recent.
Pretty recent.
His thesis is that they literally see the world differently. It's not like that they do different things. Both sides of the brain are doing stuff all the time. So when you're creative, you're using both. Like when you're logical, you're using both. Like it's not that BS of, oh yeah, one half does this, one half does that.
Yeah.
But they see the whole world differently. And basically what he's saying is that the right hemisphere is like the master. It sees everything at once all the time. And everything's always new because the whole world's always changing. And like it's all kind of, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it's all about relation and, what's the distance between this and this. And it's kind of more about relation and stuff like that. And then the left is more about like taking what it sees and splitting it up, like very mechanical into different parts and like really understanding each part out of context and isolation. Mm-hmm. So there's one way of seeing the world where everything is in context and everything's like kind of always in motion and in relation. And another where you can say Marth's forward air. You could just talk about Marth's forward air as though it's like its own thing that you could take out of the game, which you really can't, but you kind of can because you can, right? So you've kind of got both. And I think it's like self one, self two kind of thing.
That's what I was thinking, yeah.
The left, like it's slower, it takes time for it to think, and like if you try to line up the shot, right? You're gonna miss. Like you have to flick. You have to kind of like let go of the like you need to analyze on your own time, but then when it comes time to flick, you just have to flick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that that's going to be my struggle with piano. Like I feel really uncomfortable, like letting go of like timing it. You know what I mean? Like I want to intentionally time. Like this note happens in between these two, and then I get all fucking weird and like tense.
There has to be a flow state.
Yeah, there has to be a flow state. Yeah, the flow state. I think the beauty of the flow state is it lets you transition between one mode and the other. You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of like reaction tech chasing.
Flow state, I think what he's trying to say anyway is like you're basically, it's like the right hemisphere needs to be the master, the left has to be the emissary, right? The right is like it's like it's like you have to be in the right, and then the left can like do kind of little things. So you know, that's like the self 1, self 2 that they're saying too. It's like that the right is in charge and the left is the emissary.
Yeah.
But then, you know, the problem is sometimes the left is like, damn, the right sucks. I don't trust that guy.
And that's bad.
That's what you lose.
Right.
I was thinking of reaction tech something. Remember, like I feel like it was Wizzy's. Remember, Wizzy said something like, you know, I think what was the way he worded it? It was like, when I'm reaction tech chasing, I can't account for these other things because I have to devote my full attention to it. So like, and I feel like that's the emissary part, where it's like when there's certain things you do in Melee where it's like when you're focusing on that thing, you actually have to like just go into that mode where that's the only thing you're focusing on, and like all of the other like context, like forget about that for a second. And if you don't do that, like if I start trying to think about, if I'm trying to like I get a knockdown, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna react to what he's about to do, right? If I'm trying to think about like what's good, like anything outside of like just reacting, I drop it every time.
That's 100% punish game,
right?
Is that part of
You just go in.
Can't even think. It has to be second nature.
I think
like if you take any time to think about what you're doing in a tournament set, top 8, you're just gonna drop it.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah, like if you overthink it, like especially when it comes to last stock, I find myself, especially like a year ago when I like feel like I would choke things more, is when it's last stock, I would think about what punish I needed to do next, and most of the time I'm not doing that, and that was like a conscious change I had to make for like future tournament sets. Or just like turn it off when you're just do what you do best in that moment. The times where you want to think, for me in particular, I'd like to do on the Angel platform between stocks to try to like recap what's been going on.
That's perfect.
They're like good pauses and breaks you can like kind of feel out for like just recapping what's been happening in the match, and then everything else has to be just instinct.
If you read that book, like ZAIN basically just said exactly how you should do it. That's like so crazy. Wait, but so you're saying, ZAIN, overthinking in your mind when it comes to top 8, like those moments, is basically like in the middle of the, like in the action that you're thinking at all. Like that's overthinking already.
Yes. Yeah.
You hear that, Toph?
Yeah. Yeah.
You take that in? You think? I know you think.
Oh yeah, I think all the time. I think too much.
Can I tell you what the biggest change is since the last show and today?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
I've realized, fuck thinking, dude. I'm so over it.
Thinking sucks, dude. Thinking sucks.
I've been thinking every day of my life for the past like 5 years. Since he left that comment on YouTube, I've been thinking every day of my life. I'm so over it, dude. It's not that good.
It's going to be a muscle brain.
Yeah, you have to.
You can only do it on the cloud.
Yeah.
That's when it's time to think on the Angel cloud.
Yeah.
And then
in
once
between
you get
games,
on the cloud,
in between games, in between sets, sometimes.
But wait,
sometimes even that's too much.
Trust yourself, ZAIN. I feel like if I did that, I would just be like, "Well, what if I'm an idiot?"
No, there's no time for that.
Ooh.
Like this is what you've been practicing for. It's like you have to trust.
Not that good in practice.
You have to trust your execution, trust what you've been implementing in friendlies, and that comes to tournament. There's no second guessing that. At least that's the way I feel.
What about when your practice is inconsistent?
When my practice isn't consistent, you rework from there.
That's what I wanted to ask you about. I was thinking about like what was it like to be you when you played Rishi when he used to wash you?
It was awesome.
What's your life like? How is your life? That's Toph. If we, that's like this big segment where I want to ask ZAIN, like, what's going on in his mind in practice?
Yeah. For me, when I played Rishi like 3-4 years ago, like this guy, I just need to copy him. Like I can just take what I'm seeing right now and just do it like in my own friendlies. So everything he did to me, I would just like make a mental note of like. He started like up throw pivot tippering way before me, and he showed me how to do that. And then I started spamming that in friendlies and like getting good at it. Starting to realize you can link it off of just like stray moves and like kind of make it your own, go from there, find out where it's better. It's always like good when you have someone to emulate, I think.
Yeah.
For me now it's hard. Like I still watch PP more than anyone else, just because I feel like that's part of the game that I'm lacking. It's just like his intentional movement out of the corner, like how he pressure, like he dashes forward a lot more than I do, and I've been trying to like work that into my game plan and friendlies and stuff.
What do you mean by intentional movement? Tell me more about that.
Yeah, so particularly versus Sheik, I've noticed he's able to just like he's like forces the Sheik to move in certain positions on the stage with his like dash forwards and stuff. It's like he's like bending their will just by dash dancing, and I don't feel like I do that. I feel like my dash dancing is like, oh, I'm here, and then I just like punish them. But his is way more. It's like.
So, did you hear how he described that?
Yeah. Can I tell you what my thought? My thought is that's how I feel when I'm dash dancing, and to hear ZAIN say that is kind of mind blowing because.
With Fox, you mean?
No. Well, yeah, for me, but I'm like hearing ZAIN say that because, like, to me, like ZAIN, like you're like up here, so I'm like, oh shit, like there's a guy that's up here that still feels that way.
You're saying when ZAIN,
like, because when I watch you dash dance, I'm terrified, right? Like, so I'm kind of like, damn, when ZAIN dash dances, it's like really intentional. Like, there's a lot of like, it's like, oh fuck, you know. But then hearing you say that, it's like, ah, shit. I guess there's just like, there's just layers.
I have holes in my dash dance. Like, it's exploitable for sure. But I've mitigated it in different ways.
I see that.
I zone more. So that's
what was that word?
I've zoned more. Like I zone way more than PP does. So that's the way that I kind of patched up my holes. Is just like with better aerial drift and like dash dancing outside of certain moves. PP is way more grounded and trusts his like ground game way more. And that's what I've been trying to. It's like what I've been trying to copy for the longest time. It's just hard.
You didn't always used to be like that, right? I feel like when I first kind of met you, or like when I first started watching you, I feel like you were really dash dance centric, where you didn't zone that much, or is that backwards?
It was more one dimensional though. So like people were just worse. Like when I beat all these foxes, when I was literally dash dance grabbing in the corner, catching their nair, down throwing them off, and giving them. It was just that. It was so one dimensional, and like
you just could win sets.
I could just win by doing. That's the first thing I got good at. Was
it's a very good thing to get good at.
It's a good thing to get good at. Yeah.
I frustrated so many people at my college just by playing like that. And I mean, like, it kind of sucks, but I'm like, whatever, I'm just trying to get good. But I would get really good at that. Then once I got the grab, I'd be like, okay, how do I take this further? So then my punish game got good. And that worked at the top level for like a year. Like, that's how I beat Zach. I beat Levin like that at Smash and Splash 3.
Yeah.
Just because he was... I don't know. He was freaking out or something. But, like if you watch,
freaking out, dude.
Yeah, he was up 2-0, and then once that started happening, he was crumbling. Obviously, that doesn't work anymore, like against the top boxes. But that's the first thing I was good at.
The what was it like? So that the thing that strikes me as odd though about that, and this has always been an anomaly to me. So you told me something very interesting at. I think it was Canada Cup, some Canadian tournament like a year or two ago. You told me something very interesting. Might have been Battle BC, yeah, where you said that the first MIM top 100 player you ever beat in tournament was Plup.
Yeah, I think that's true. I'm pretty sure. If not, he's definitely one of the first.
So one that's really weird, obviously, because it's like usually you don't start with like a super top player as your first top 100 win. But second of all, the thing that I find weird about it also is that it's Marth's Sheik, and I feel like when I think about Marths that play the way you described and that are getting really good and getting a lot of wins by, like, you know, doing that playstyle you just described, I feel like Sheik is usually not a character that they tend to beat.
I think the difference in that situation is Plup's playstyle. So he's definitely aggressive leaning Sheik, where when he's frustrated, he'll throw out more overshoot boost grabs and bad dash attacks. So that's easy for Marth to dash dance grab. And my punish game was already pretty good on Sheik at that point, where I kind of melted him each stock. But yeah, he was definitely rushed. Like, I was not known at Big House 6. So
Yeah.
he was definitely probably just like, I can just rush this guy. Let me add him.
Yeah.
And it didn't work.
Yeah.
Dude, that could be really tough, right? Because like, you lose the first stock, it's like, all right, whatever. I'm just gonna rush him again. But then if you're down 2 stocks versus somebody who's like actually good, it's like, ooh.
Yeah.
And then you start playing too late. It's like
it's too late, yeah. And I have the confidence already. I'm like, I can do this.
Every time you hit him, like you could still melt him.
Yeah.
Oh, that's tough. That's a tough spot to be in.
That's harder for him, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you 2-0'd him, right? It was a 2-0.
Yeah.
I feel like that kind
was
of
also after I won against Toph 2-1 last stock, last hit.
Oh god.
Funniest thing, yeah.
That's super funny, yeah.
Oh god. Yeah, that would have been a very different tournament.
Super different.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, just if he knew who you were, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like doubtlessly Plup playing with respect and Tafo playing with respect, like Plup's better.
Better.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I can't think of a single matchup where
No.
Tafo is like as good as Plup.
Tablets forward smashes though. Ooh.
He definitely caught me with one that's
They're not bad. They're not
I
bad.
was like a little tilted. I was like, fine, he got it.
Yeah. Yeah, it tilts me too. I'm just like, god damn it. Because anyway. He thinks he's so hot when he gets that fucking forward smash. Yeah, no, dude. Bobby, you were asking about like inconsistent practice.
Yeah, like I guess the question's really in practice, I'll try things and I'm not good at it yet. But I don't really necessarily remember what my fallback is, That's nowadays, and I think I'm a little bit jumbled because, I started playing so many years ago, and I think before 2009 when like I moved and, a bunch of things happened, I had a more linear kind of like, I knew the building blocks of my own style, But now I've had to change it so many times that I don't really know what my foundation is anymore. I need to refigure that out if I want to get back into the game. But I don't know. I feel like there's certain things that you practice. It's like a stretch, you're trying to do something. You can't quite do it.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I don't know. I'm in that situation a lot. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, should I try to do this thing that I've been practicing or not? Because I don't get it every time, but I get it sometimes.
Yeah, I think it's interesting for Falcon because there's so many styles. It's just like you could probably take like a mishmash of each one and see which works for yours and just blend that together. Like that sounds exciting to me. Like maybe I'll do a little bit of Wizzy, a little bit of Nun, a little bit of SUJ. It's all so different. Even SUJ Nun is like drastically different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. To me that sounds exciting. But it's
how
hard
would you figure out Nun? How if we were trying to play Falcon, you're trying to emulate Nun? Do you feel like you have a sense of how you might look at his matches and be like, make any sense out of it?
No, that's definitely the hardest. It's that you just have to let go of any fear. Just like you're like, I don't care if I lose, and you have to play your friendlies just completely balls to the wall. Like,
yeah.
That's why it's so fun to watch. It's just so nuts.
Dude, the hardest I've ever felt that was when I played Nun on Netplay, and he didn't know who I was. I purposely didn't tell him who I was. Mm-hmm. And when I play him in friendlies in person, like at tournaments, like, it's like competitive. Like, it's like not that bad, He slaughtered me on Netplay when he didn't know who I was. I was just like, oh my god. Dude, he just like did not give me any fucking respect. And it actually fucking works, because I'm like, I know how to play Nun. Like, I know how he plays. I'm pretty good against Falcon. And he just did like dumb approaches that just like got me, because I don't know. And then obviously just kills me off them because I don't know how to DI, because he's doing some weird net play stuff that like he's trying to like make clips for his YouTube.
Even in on his camera.
Exactly. Yeah. And I'm just like, what is going on? And he just like 2-0'd me really quickly, and I was just like, oh my god. And I actually had the same experience a while back with Lord when I played Lord, and he didn't know who I was. I think when you have that kind of style, I almost feel like just not giving your opponent, like, not like playing them up in your head, like really actually helps, because as soon as you like put the brakes on, you're not going to be balls to the wall anymore. But if that's what you're trying to do, like if you're trying to like maximize your combo game, I feel like just hitting them like they're like a CPU, it can be really, really strong.
Yeah, that's when he's at his strongest. Yeah.
Dude, Zain, when did you realize, like, you're talking about, like, emulating, right? I think that's really interesting. Because this is something that, like, for example, like Axe has not had anyone to emulate. I think probably for over a decade, right? Yeah, basically forever.
Yeah.
I mean, so for you, I mean, you know, you've been the best Marth for like 2 or 3 years. I want to say 2 years, maybe, right? So like, when did that hit you, and like, how have you kind of? Because I feel like that's got to be tough, right? Like when you go from like, oh shit, now what do I do? Like, how do I get better from here? Like,
I think it's important to realize that it's not too late to keep emulating. Like you can still take stuff from other people. Like you can't have an ego with that. So I'll still like get stuff from Rishi that he's like implementing. You like, especially at a point where I think he was better versus Falcon than I was, even when I was getting better results. I would still like really, really look at those, and I think that helped me get good versus Falcon. Now I feel like it's one of my stronger matchups, where before it was really a roadblock for me. But a lot of that was kind of emulating his style. But it's also just about trusting. You have to start trusting your ability to start pioneering, because at a certain point, it comes to you, and having your strengths be.
What do those words mean? You said it comes to you. What is it?
It's like a responsibility to pave.
That's true.
The meta.
That's definitely true.
Yeah. So you have to be unafraid of that. Your strengths are now the face of Marth, and it's weird to think about in that. Like, it's weird, right? Especially if you have haters too. Like, it's like, oh, am I doing this character dirty? I don't know. But whatever. Like, this is how I play. I have fun playing this way. Yeah. I like competing, so fuck it, right?
That's really sick. Do you take ZAIN? Do you take, or have you ever taken Drug Fox lessons?
I do right now.
Yeah, this was something that I actually talked about with Drug Fox in our latest lesson. Was, I think I might have mentioned this to you, Bobby, but I'll just tell it again because I think ZAIN hasn't heard this, and I thought it was pretty cool. Where he was like, I was basically telling him like, hey man, okay, so, and again, I think we literally talked about this on the last Scarnato show, but I'll try to say it quickly. But it's basically like, I was telling him, hey man, I'm learning this new game, Grand Blue Versus, and like, I was stuck on this one situation, or these sets of situations, and I was like, okay, this is how I think I should be playing the situation. And I kind of like labbed it out in my head or whatever, and I was like, okay, I think this is what I should do here and kind of what I should be looking for. But then I watched some matches of like top players of my character, and they're not doing that. They're actually doing other stuff. And and so Drug Fox like basically said to me like, okay, well, one, you know, yeah, okay, sure, there's times where maybe you don't understand the situation thoroughly enough or whatever, but also like, if you think like you've got the right answer to a situation, or you're doing the right, or you have the right idea, and the top players in videos aren't doing that, like sometimes like they're just wrong, and like you need to trust yourself.
Yes. Yeah.
Like who's to say you're not just like you can be the guy that brings this to the table? Like you're totally allowed to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure that's happened to you.
I really agree with that. Yeah, I think that's that line of thinking plagues a lot of current Melee players who think that the blueprints that top players have set are the end-all be-all. And that's why I think it's so bad for people to just like, their first line of reference for improving is going straight to the top player instead of trying to build your own blueprint. It's so dangerous for your like development, just because you need some foundation yourself, and that's when it's okay to start asking for specific questions from top players. But you can't just steal the blueprint completely. Like, you have to be you. That's what's really cool about Melee, is like, it's an imprint of your identity in the character. It's insane. Yeah.
Bob, what do you mean it's okay to ask specific questions?
Yeah, so a lot of the times...
Questions are bad.
Yeah, so just like after I play someone at a tournament, like, you got tips.
Yeah, you got your tips, bro.
And then I'm not mean enough to be like...
Yeah, I got some fucking tips, motherfucker.
Yeah. I'll start talking to them. I'll like try to recall, like, sometimes I'm not even like thinking about, like, my mind is off.
Your autopilot was too strong.
Yeah. And I was like, I don't know, I just grabbed you like 4 times. Yeah. So like, I'll try to like give very basic, like, Marth versus, say I'm playing Fox, very basic guidelines for Marth versus Fox. And the most frustrating thing that happens to me is I'll start talking to a person, and as soon as I'm talking to them, I just see their face go blank. Like, the question itself for them was like the only part necessary to improve, and there's no more action needed for them. So like, I'll start talking, and then I'll immediately recognize their eyes. I'm like, bro, are you serious? I'm just talking. I could literally be saying anything, and I think they'd just be like.
It's like, yeah, you gotta have a nutritious breakfast, man. Like, the reason I beat you, you gotta have a nutritious breakfast.
Nodding his head.
Like oatmeal and like bananas. Yeah.
Can I tell you, I find ZAIN so interesting in so many ways, because what sticks out about me from what you just said is that not only were you looking at their face, but you're noticing what their inner state is by like looking at their face. I feel like when someone asks me that question when I beat their ass, I'm sitting and thinking, and I'm thinking about my answer. So I'm actually not even looking at them. So I don't notice when they're not listening to me.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Like, you're looking at them. It's just what you're looking at is different than what I'm looking at, I feel, most of the time.
And the greatest feeling is when it's rare, but there will be people who are genuinely taking interest in what you're like. And then I've seen it. Like, at one of my locals, there's a smart player who asked me like really specific questions towards like Marth versus Sheik, for example. Like, how can I better juggle Sheik at this percent? I found that she's always jumping out, and she always air dodges the top platform. It's like really specific, and then I'll give a specific answer, and then I watch him beat a PR Sheik player like 2 weeks later. And I'm like, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, that feels really good.
Yeah.
One of the things I've been thinking about that I think you're kind of getting at is like so actually I was talking to Brian Tran yesterday. We were just talking about stuff, and he mentioned that Atrioc. Do you know Atrioc, ZAIN?
Yeah.
You know Atrioc. Mm-hmm. That he actually sucks at Valorant because he's just an awful teams player. Like, he's just super self-absorbed.
That Atrioc sucks?
Yeah. I'm actually super surprised by that. Like, he's a good one-player game kind of guy, but not a good, like, teams game guy. That's what I heard from Vtran. I don't know. I haven't played with him, but I kind of believe it. But anyway, yeah, I feel like when I play Atrioc, it's very clear in Melee, it's very clear to me that, like, he's not paying attention to me or what I'm doing. Like, he's in game. I feel like he's super about, like, his focus is all on what he's doing. He's not really looking at what I'm doing, so the same shit will hit him over and over and over.
He's playing a single player game.
Exactly, and I feel like sometimes I feel like almost what we're talking about in a broader sense is like kind of. I think if some people are thinking about how can I play better so that the other person just loses, not really thinking about how it's like always a game. You know what I mean? How like you can't just play better so that the other person loses. Like at the end of the day, does this person asking ZAIN for tips know, like, did he even know you were trying to grab him 4 times to win? Like, did you like, right? Like, what do you think you lost to? Do you even know?
I actually think
I don't know. I just got outplayed.
I didn't do this well enough. Like,
yeah. That's really big, and I think actually one thing about the thing that's odd about Melee that I've kind of realized. So I've been playing a lot of Grand Blue Versus, which is like a simpler fighting game, right? Like it's not like Guilty Gear, Marvel, or
than like Street Fighter.
It's basically like anime aesthetics, but it's like Street Fighter neutral, right? There's no air dashing, there's no crazy movement and all this stuff. It's not like a tag game where you're summoning your assist and they're doing all this crazy shit. It's like 1v1 footsie. It's like it's mostly footsies, right? Blah blah blah. And something I realized, and actually a note I took for myself, and this kind of ties into the whole Melee thing. I think a lot of Melee players, they get into that one-player game mindset because the thing about Melee is like, yeah, I'm sure you guys have always heard, if I was playing better, I would have won. If I was playing better, I would have won. It's all me. If I was playing better, I would have won. I think the reality is with Melee, a lot of the time it's actually kind of true. And like a lot of the time people drop sets and they drop games because they didn't hit all their L cancels, or they were flubbing, they got full jumps instead of short ops or something, and it's just like shit, like their execution wasn't, if their execution was just a little bit tighter, if they didn't drop their combos, they actually would be winning sets that they wouldn't otherwise. And that's actually the case to like a pretty high level. You can kind of like, if your flowchart's good enough and your execution's good enough in Melee, you can kind of turn your brain off and like get pretty far. So people kind of internalize that, especially like Spacies players, where Spacies players like from an early point in their gameplay, they're kind of like, oh, like there's all this technical stuff I have to do, and then you kind of, you go through your sets and you kind of either drop your stuff or you don't. and you perform obviously a lot better if you're executing well. And what I realized playing a simpler fighting game is like, you can't get, but like it's not like that at all. Like much earlier into your time playing simpler games, you have to learn to I think I wrote manipulate your opponent's attention. So like I realized very quickly, like when I'm playing like this simpler fighting game, if I'm running a game plan, if I'm jumping at you, right? Say you're playing Street Fighter and I'm jumping at you and you're DPing me. Like I can't keep jumping in. In Melee, I'm like, okay, maybe I'll jump in this time and I won't fast fall. Yeah. Or maybe I'll jump in and I'll drift back. Right? I'll do my aerial drift differently, or I'll jump and then I'll wave on the platform. If you're playing fucking like a simple fighting game where there's no double jumps, there's no fucking air dashes, if you're jumping in and they're area like anti-airing you, you need to fucking stop. And the problem, I think one thing that the problem that a lot of Melee players run into is that there's all these ways to make the thing you want to do work if you're like playing good enough, that people get into that mindset of like, I need to play better. And it's kind of true, and you do need to do
you
that.
Feel like do you feel like you had that mentality?
Me?
Yeah, when you were coming up?
Not really, no. I never had that specific thought.
Mm-hmm.
So do you think that maybe it's more for Fox and Falco than other characters? Because I'm kind of thinking to myself, too, like, I was just thinking about my journey getting better, and I think that as Falcon, I had this sense that I played a lot more, like, plugged in when I was worse. And that at a certain point, I got too fast. You know, I got so fast that I could just roll over people. Yeah. And it actually felt so much better to play without the nerves of like being plugged in and like, you know, really paying attention to what the other person's doing. Because it's harder to do that. It's easier to just be on autopilot. But I kind of feel like I never had the sense that if I played technically better that I would, or maybe I did. But when I first started, I feel like I wasn't just trying to tech skill better.
I do think spacey players run into it way more. I think it's like a common
sense
trap.
to me.
And they always say it.
The problem you just described, I feel like it's a great problem to have. Because, like, that can be ironed out.
Yeah,
like, that's so straightforward to me. It's like, this is what I'm lacking. I'm just going to grind that nonstop until I don't mess up. And that's where I'd go from there.
Right.
But
you just stop messing it up, and then see what you're losing to.
And then see what the problem is.
Right.
How long would you do it till you don't mess up? What if it took 3 years? You're down?
Yeah, I mean, if I like the game enough, if I feel like...
if you're having fun while you practice?
Yeah, then that's all that matters. Like, for me, Melee solo practice is always a blast. Just because... I would listen to, like, new albums and stuff. In my college dorm while just like practicing very specific things.
That sounds fun.
And yeah, I just didn't mind doing it for hours on end. Just like I'd finish up my homework and I'd be like, all right, I have the rest of the day to solo practice, and that's what I do. And it went a long way. Like I don't feel like at the top level I mess up that much. I mean, I play Marth, but I feel like I play like a pretty technical Marth. So like
I think you do.
There's
I can't
a lot
do
of stuff
you do.
There's like a lot of stuff that I could mess up, but I feel like my solo practice is a testament to like how consistent I can be.
Yeah, and even the fact that like I don't know, the way that you phrased it, like just practice it. You can iron it out. You practice it until you don't mess up. It makes it seem to me like you really care about the execution, like kind of in itself, as opposed to like I'll practice execution until I start winning. Because I think that I did maybe a little bit of that, and it makes it a little bit confusing because you don't know if you're winning exactly because your tech skill is so good, or just that it's better than who you're playing nowadays. And then if you change who you play, then you know what I mean. It's not as consistent of a way to say. I think even Toph, remember I was like, you know, inconsistent practice. Maybe I'm thinking about it that way, where I thought that good enough was like, okay, my tech skill is good enough that I'm beating everybody, but not that I'm not making mistakes. Like it's fine to make mistakes so long as I still win.
Yeah, Bobby, the way you said something, you were saying that when you got to that level of speed, you said it felt better? What do you mean by felt better?
Dude, I actually was, I'm glad that you know, Toph, you're so sick. I was thinking about taking my journal out, like literally writing this. Okay. Yeah, it's tense, dude. I feel anxious, man, when I'm playing like you know what I'm saying? When I'm playing a super tight set, I get freaked out, like my heart starts pounding. Like I don't like that feeling. I don't want to keep doing that. So I think when I had the option to just like You know what I mean? Just don't feel that bad, and then maybe lose a little bit more. It's like, all right.
How about you, ZAIN?
For me, I'm approaching in a way where I want to like that feeling of those anxious, especially after playing 8. Like last year, Game 5 last stock versus HBox, Game 5 last stock.
Oh God.
Lows.
Against who? The second one? What was the second thing you said? Game 5 last stock against who?
HBox.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
okay.
all the time. That literally every set last year was Game 5 last stock, usually last hit.
Yeah.
And I lost them all. I was like, there is an underlying problem here about the way that I mentally approach these sets. And I did this thing with Junebug for a while. When Junebug was coaching me, where we'd play friendlies and just do last stock. And like we'd put like maybe like $5 under or something. Just like to amp it up a little bit. It's like not that much, and also like you'll still feel it a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think doing that helped me a lot. Like that was before Genesis. And to like the feeling and to embrace it as some pure form or entity of competition, like this is why I play. Like this adrenaline that I feel, like I can't get that from anything else. And at Genesis, like when it went last stock at Stadium, I was like, all right, like I'm anxious, but let's do this. Like this is why I love competing. Like I remember having that specific thought after I died.
I believe it. I swear to God, I believe you when you say it, because I don't know any other way. I don't know any other way to like play that stock in a non-shitty way. Like if you don't want the feeling of anxiety, you will lose. Especially if you're playing somebody like Hungrybox who eats that feeling up. Like he eats it up. He's like, yeah, really bring it. Like I feel like at the end of the day, that's the game that we're really playing.
Yeah. Mango's also amazing at that. Just like at Big Ass, just.
Yeah, he's amazing at it too.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know what it is, but it makes him stronger.
I think he likes it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he likes it.
That's the kind of approach that I'm trying to take with it.
I think, you know what? Actually, I was thinking about Mango, and I was thinking, like, what if his whole life is just that he loves the aesthetic of, like, Rocky Balboa, Philadelphia Eagles. Like, it's all one thing of, like...
It makes sense.
Right? Everybody thinks that I suck, and fuck that. Like, that's just how he... You know what I mean? So he kind of naturally, like, wants people... He wants the pressure, and he wants to feel like people don't think he can win. Yeah. He even wants to almost feel like maybe he doesn't think he can win, but then be like, no.
I got that sense. Bobby, remember we were talking to Mango, and he was talking about Russian Roulette, and he's like, I want to play Russian Roulette one day. And you were getting so pissed. You're like, why would you play Russian Roulette? And Mango's like, I just want to spin this. I want to spin the barrel, dude. I just want to spin the barrel.
I was like,
and you were getting so pissed. You were like, well, what do you get out of it? Mango's like, it'd be
because I was like, okay, Mango, like, this is all fun and games, right? It's all cool. Like, I think that's really funny. But, like, if you had a gun, you wouldn't literally do it, right? He was like, no, I would. He's like, you know, I'm trying to make it increasingly real to find the point where he's like, no, I wouldn't pull the trigger of a loaded gun at my head. But he wouldn't do it. He was just like, yeah, I'm going to do it. And I was like, why? Like, what do you get? Like, you could just lie about it. Like, you could do so many things. Like, what's the benefit you get?
Like, I'm actually acting fun.
He was like, no, the story he was like, the story would be so sick. And I was like, dude, you could just tell the story. You could get all the benefit without nobody would actually, you know, make it up. Like, you have to really do it.
You have to really do it. I think Mango legitimately, like, likes that feeling. I think, like, that's where he wants to be. That's something I've been thinking about with regards to, like, you know, just quarantine and everything, too, right? Is, like, that's, like, the thing that I think people miss the most from, like, being able to go to tournaments is, like... Because for me, like, I also, like, you know, I've taken kind of a step back from, like, really actively, you know, going hard and competing. And, I mean, I will say that, like, the thing that I find myself missing the most, like, when I go to locals, or especially when I'm, like, I've been picking up new games, like, you know, I was feeling this in Ultimate for a while when I started playing that game. Unfortunately, you can't play Ultimate online. It's a shame Nintendo just didn't implement Ultimate online. There's no way to play that game online. Real shame about that. Real shame that you can't play that game online. I'm sure it'd be really fun, but it doesn't. No method exists. And then, you know, Granblue now. It's like when I'm playing, like, you know, high-level players in these games, and I'm like, you know, having close sets. It's just like, I'm like, yeah, this is what I miss. Like, this is that shit that, like even when you lose, it's like, well, I felt something.
Yeah.
The tension resolved in not a positive way, but I went through the whole tension and it felt, it's like, yeah, it's Yeah, I do miss it.
Before Pound Online, I felt genuinely competitively starved. Like, there was something missing in my life. And Mego actually came in my chat. It was so funny. I wore my jersey, like, on stream.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't even, like, something that I deliberated that much beforehand. I just, like, showered, put on my jersey. Like, I didn't think about it that much.
Yeah.
And then Mego came in my chat just, like, LMAO. He was like, you're wearing your jersey. He's like, this guy just wants to feel something. I was like, I do.
Yeah.
he
and
dude.
then I looked at HBox's stream. He was also wearing his jersey. I was like, respect.
Let's play, motherfucker.
Yeah.
That's sick.
Yeah, like, because it's just, I missed it so much. And even if it's online, even if I have to deal with that shit, it's like, it was there. I felt something. I got lucky, because most of my matches were like, they were good ping versus Gatsu. Gatsu, none was 30 ping.
Okay.
Plup was 30 ping, and then HBox was 20 ping. So I didn't really have
good.
those complaints of like net play stuff. Yeah.
You didn't have to play anyone like West Coast or whatever.
Well, in pools, I played a Zelda from Cali and 85 ping. So that was like,
yeah, but
it was still steady, but it was pools, so it wasn't the worst.
And it's a Zelda.
I want to talk more about this like anxiety thing because this discomfort thing. This is a big deal. I think it's a big deal for not just me. You had to like convince yourself at a certain point that like you like it, right? You didn't always like it. Do you always like it?
No.
Like, how do you go from not liking something to liking something? Like, you can't just say, oh, well, now I'm going to like it, and then it works, right?
Well, you have to do it over and over and, like, reframe your mind, like, consciously reframe your mind.
How do you do that? How do you do that? How do you do that? Not how does one do that. I want to know what is it like? What are you doing? Are you thinking about it, or are you just kind of like...
Now that I've lost 6 sets to HBox game, at this time, I've lost 6 sets to HBox game last rock.
Yeah.
Like, the feeling of winning would be so great. I have to, like, take this anxiety. I don't know. It's not something specific. It's just, like, tricking myself almost.
Yeah.
But I don't want to say that. I don't want to say that.
Because you're not really. You are actually, like, retraining your mind. But I feel like what I'm getting as you say it is, like, you kind of can't look at it too hard. This also, like, just completely keeps going back to the truth that thinking is, like, not that good. You need to think only so much that you can change like the who you are sort of thing.
I'm just trying to
no more.
Thinking is just bad.
Thinking is ass. Yeah, it really it can only do so much. It can only do so much. It can only make slight changes at a time. And then once that change takes, then you can think about something else. But like, you can't think your way through the whole problem.
The problem is thinking also. It's gonna come with a layer of emotions, and there's no room for emotion in the competitive Melee set. Like. If you could completely just like rationally think out everything without any emotion, I bet that'd be amazing.
That would be sick.
But you can't. No human can do that.
Can't do it.
No one can do
that.
Humans can't do it. Some of us try, but none of us are close.
There's gonna be a weight of emotion. Like, yeah, you can't eliminate that factor.
You know, anybody. You know what I like to think about? I like to think about Mr. Spock. You ever watch Star Trek?
Not the show. I've seen like the newer movies.
So Spock, Spock in the movies is not really like Spock. Spock's really good because he literally is like, the way that he's supposed to play the character is like someone who literally doesn't have emotions, and it's so weird. It's like not even close to like logical humans. Like logical humans don't act like Spock because Spock just like, it's hard to explain. But if you take a situation, I don't know, he just kind of doesn't even get like being upset about losing or whatever, which is like a fundamental motivation for a lot of people who want to logic their way to win. Like he doesn't get, why do you want to win? Like you'll win if you just, practice the thing. It's like totally devoid of emotion. But the very process of trying to think so that you can get better at the game is something like he wouldn't start. That's illogical in itself.
Yeah.
If you want to get better at the game, you'd practice. You wouldn't think about it. You wouldn't lie. You know what I mean? It's like
that's just not possible. Yeah.
You wouldn't even spend the time like thinking. Like there's no point in doing it.
Do it. Yeah.
Yeah. That's why it's a pet peeve. I hate when people say like, yeah, I'm being logical. Like I'm not letting emotions. It's like, yeah, no, you are. Of course.
Fundamental emotional. Yeah. There's emotion behind that very decision.
Yeah. Exactly. Right. You're putting emotional weight on whether you're right or not. That's an emotion.
Can I also ask, like, is there a difference between like that anxiety feeling or whatever, and what you're talking about with the competitive thing that felt like it was missing? Like, is it the same thing or is it a different thing?
It's a very similar thing.
It's very similar.
I guess that's the weird thing is that I was missing that. Like, there are
That
times
is
where I
weird.
hated that feeling, but when I'm away from it for so long, it felt like I needed it. Like it was just such a constant in my life for so long that I don't know if that's a bad thing or a good thing, but all I know is that I wanted to compete.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But if you competed and you never felt stressed, like, do you think that would scratch it or no?
That's not even a possibility for me. I think it's hard for me to.
So do you think if you played like a local and there weren't like top players or whatever, that you would still feel good? Like, even if you're not pushed to your limit kind of thing?
No.
Too easy.
That's because I'm not going to get that feeling. Like,
You gotta get pushed.
That's the thing is I've played Fox at like the cave or at my local tournaments versus like Bobby Big Balls just to like emulate that feeling.
Yeah.
If I play like I don't want to watch Grants. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like I've had sets with him that are like game 5 last stock, second set
As
Black
Fox.
Hawk,
Yeah.
as Fox. And it's like I feel it. I'm like I care enough about this that I feel it. I want to beat this fucker.
Because he's gonna talk shit on Twitter. There's something on the line. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Is this even before you lost 6 times HBox or no? Is this after that?
I'm trying to.
Yeah.
I remember you told me at Battle of BC. So this was like 2018. 2018, I want to say we were hanging out at Battle of BC, and you were telling me, yeah, I'm going to go home tomorrow, and I'm going to go into the cave and beat Bobby with my Fox.
And I did.
And I want to say this was right in the thick of it, and you did.
Yeah.
I want to say this was like right in the thick of it.
It was.
Okay, I would have bet money that it was before. And you know why? The last you didn't listen to the last. Of course you did.
Last episode, no, I didn't.
Let's imagine that you did.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just gonna pretend. So you remember when I was talking about like how I think you think versus how other people think, and like what's, and I think at that time I said something about like that you're not anchored to you're not fixated on like winning or the result. There's got to be something else, because otherwise your results can't move so much. Like when people are fixated, it's really weird, and I don't really know how to explain it exactly either. But in other words, if you're so focused on how well you do, it makes it, I think, harder to beat somebody you don't expect to beat.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like the only way I could conceptualize how you are the way that you are is that like you're thinking about something that's not like necessarily just like, of course you want to win, but it's not so fixated. And I feel like every time you're talking about it, it's like so interesting that like it just seems to be the case. Like when I would enter as my secondary, I did it to get my secondary better. And like if I started losing, I didn't want to lose the set, so I would like switch. But then I'm not really, you know what I mean? I'm avoiding that exact feeling that you're talking about wanting. Yeah. That's so weird to me, but also like I don't like that feeling, man.
Yeah, I think I don't know if it's like exposure to it that makes it more familiar, but I think that's what's happened to me. And like the first time that I felt it really strongly was when I beat Leffen at Smash and Splash 3. Oh. And it was when I was up game 5, 3 stocks to 1. Then he starts playing out of his mind. He brings it back, has an opportunity to shine spike me. He like I like overextended super badly or something. He was at really high percent. I was at really low percent, and he could have shined me. And I remember thinking, I'm gonna throw up on the stage. Like, oh my seriously, God. I'm gonna straight up throw up on the stage.
Yeah.
And then he didn't go for it, and I recovered and tippered him. And I was like, all right, I'm good. But like, that was like not a good way to deal with that feeling. Like I was.
And you were gonna be so disgusted with yourself. You're gonna be so disgusted with yourself that you're gonna throw up.
Vomit. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe it. I actually believe it. And it's crazy to me that like, you know, it's like you said that he was up 2-0, right?
He was up 2-0, yeah.
And he started choking, so he gave it to you. And then you were up 3 stocks to 1 on last, and then you gave it to him.
Yeah.
But then he didn't take it.
Yeah.
When you gave it to him, and then you came back and you won, and it's like, but yeah, you would have been so disgusted with yourself if you just gave it back for free, because you probably saw it clearly. It's like, dude, I just gave him this set. Like I said, no, thanks.
Yeah. Thank God.
Yeah, I think things would have been different, because if your first, dude, because seriously, actually, this might be, probably it's only one part of your whole story, but you know, if the first time that you had that feeling, it ended so badly, like it might have been harder for you to go back there.
Yeah, for sure.
I think for a lot of us, like, damn, dude, I remember the first time that I choked and I lost.
Yeah, that was actually when I Wizzy at Genesis. That was a very debilitating feeling to like.
Dude, losing in that situation hurts.
Yeah.
Hurts. I was just thinking about that. I was just thinking about that set you had with Wizzy.
Yeah,
because I was thinking like, yeah, you know, that Leffen set, yeah, you brought it back, but you've been on the other side of that, and fortunately, you didn't throw up all over the stage, so you know.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Was that after the Leffen set? The set with you and Wizzy? It was, right?
Yeah, that was a few months, half a year after.
Half a year after.
Yeah.
I think it's probably good that the first time it happened, that you felt that intense, that you won.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah. I think it did shape some foundation for my career.
Yeah. There's moments, man.
Because at least then you can say like, you know, you blow it or whatever. But at least you can look back and be like, but I've clutched it before. I clutched it against Leffen.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah. You know, it's not impossible.
That's why Genesis is so important for me. For HBox in that specific matchup, is like I need to be able to like. I won the winners final set 3-1, and I didn't want it to go game 5 in grand finals. Obviously, I don't want that, but the fact that it did, and the fact that I won it like that, I think, is important for me as a player. Just because I need to be able to know that I can do that, like that I have the capacity.
Yeah. Yeah, and you worked towards that specifically for a while, right?
Yeah.
Like on an emotional level.
That was the test at the biggest level.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah,
so you actually like kind of like that feeling now.
Yeah.
You know the other thing that I'm thinking about, like, yeah, if behind that feeling is some of the best moments of your life, you might start, you know, so you're gonna start wanting it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's like how the brain works.
That's true. Yeah, that's how the brain learns stuff.
Right? It's like, damn, this is literally the best. Like, I gotta go there again.
Yeah.
Which I guess is not so bad.
That's not so bad. It makes me think of all the people that didn't come out the other side. Think of all the people that really dread that feeling because their worst moments are linked to it, you know? That's gotta suck. Imagine, I have to imagine it must be so easy to quit doing something you love because you choke those moments and you're like, fuck, I gotta avoid this. It's like one of the worst feelings. And that's gotta suck.
Damn. So you're saying that we all have to go back. We gotta go back into those flames and find ourselves in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I ran away. I know for a fact. Like, now that we're talking about it, this is some deep shit for me. This is an important conversation. Zain, I really appreciate you being here. I appreciate that you exist. That I can talk to you. That we've been able to see what it's like, you know, when a person can, you know, practice to not make mistakes as opposed to practice to win. Like, that's fucking cool to me.
Yeah, I haven't really put these feelings into words, so this is fun for me.
Yeah, I'll ask you all kinds of questions. Yeah, but it's like, for me, I feel like, damn, dude, I choked so many times and it felt so bad. And like, I don't know, I think I eventually was like, damn, I just cannot get into those situations. Like, I'll just always lose. And I've been like trying to find a way to not get in those situations in the first place. But like any really good set where anything's on the line, of course I'm going to feel that way, right? If it matters to me. So I got to go back. I got to find a way to.
It's like reclaim. Yeah, you reclaim what you lost from that.
Yeah, you got to reclaim it. Wait, so I got one question. Do you ever get like super fucking salty, Zain?
No, I get sad.
Dude, Toph, there's something there.
Yeah.
I think that for me on net play, I skip, right? I skip the, you know what I'm saying? Like getting salty, it's like, it's probably too much exposure or something. There's something where salt is too far. We went too far.
It's like you're, well, I think the thing about salt specifically, especially when juxtaposed against sadness, is I feel like salt often comes from a place of entitlement. And I wonder if that's... I find that when I'm getting salty losing to people, it's like I feel like I should be winning. I'm like, ugh, like why?
You're fixated on winning. That's the problem.
Right?
Dude,
You're fixated on winning.
Defixate on winning. That would be so sick.
Sad is like you don't get sad out of entitlement, right? Sadness is like I could have had it or something. And
all right, so let's do an exercise. Let's do like the Zain range of emotions, and we'll do the Scar and Toph one too.
The Zain range.
So it's like, okay, you're playing somebody who is really good, and you win.
Yeah. Like
somebody who pushes you and you win. Like, how do you feel after that? In friendlies, let's say it's all friendlies.
In friendlies.
Like completely satisfied with the effort I put in preceding those friendlies.
And then you're going to go into the next friendly, and where's your mind? Is it still on? Like, does it go back to blank? Like,
next friendly versus that same person, or versus? It's more. No, it doesn't go blank. It's still like positive. Like
still positive.
Yeah, it's like a complete reinforcement of what I've been working on. If it's, say I'm playing Leffen and I'm like doing really well versus him at Summit or something, I'm like, okay, I'm on the right track here, and I'm going to keep feeding off of that. Like, I think it's good to use that positive reinforcement. Yeah.
Okay, good. And then you lose a friendly. Then what's happening in your head?
In that same session?
Yeah. You're winning, then you lose.
Yeah. Usually it's just kind of blank. It's like, let's see what happens in the next one. So there have been times where I lose over and over after that.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna ask about that.
Yeah. This is actually interesting because sometimes I'm like, all right, maybe I didn't focus on the things that I was working on specifically in that friendly. Maybe I got too complacent and autopiloted. Let me think about where he's hitting me, like where he's opening me up, and go back from there. And then if he starts bodying me, then I'm like, that's actually like that sucks because you're like, oh my god, were those first few friendlies just like, did that mean nothing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's probably overthinking, because that sounds like Scar, dude.
That's overthinking.
I think that's overthinking it, right?
Yeah. Huh.
Okay. And then what about I'm sure the opposites happen too, right? So you're playing somebody like Leffen and you lose the first couple. How do you feel then? Because you didn't win the first couple. Now it's different.
You know, when you put it this way, it's actually easier to work from this scenario.
It is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because what does it feel like?
It's like a natural process of improvement. Yeah. Yeah. As opposed to just a degradation of your. Yeah, that's way easier to work from.
And what does the process of improvement feel like? Because I'm trying. I want to hear the word. Because I know what it is, but I almost want to hear your words about it.
It's like, let's add in what I've been working. So let's add in this specific tool set. See how he reacts to that. How he adapts to it. Is it working? Is it not? If it is, cool. I'm gonna keep this in for my next tournament set. Yeah. For a bunch of different stuff. Yeah.
And then say you start winning.
That's like the ideal situation. It's like
when you were losing.
It's like a Eureka situation.
And then you start bodying him, and then what are you thinking about? Think about it, I got this motherfucker.
It's so gross, right? Yeah, but it's like, I'm so. It's like,
you're thinking I'm so sick, dude.
You're like.
That's super funny, dude. Okay, so I think that the building up or whatever. Tell me if I'm wrong, but that sounds like the competitive drive, right? That's like the, you start losing. It's like I can do this. I just need to kind of figure it out. Like I just gotta keep working at it. Like that's kind of what I'm here for. It's like that's what I signed up for. I'm gonna keep working at it.
It's so much easier to start from the bottom and build up.
Yeah. Okay, so
fall down then rise again. But that's what happens in competition.
Then do you ever play people who you think that you're better than, and then they're like doing pretty well against you, and you're like, damn, like does that ever happen? It must happen like once or twice. It must have happened.
At least at some point.
Usually I just credit the opponent. Like, it's like, this person is actually just really good at this matchup. Like, which is good for me. Like, someone like Junebug, right? Who, historically, even after I won Shine in 2018, he was still able to take sets off me.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was like, he's ranked 40th or something, right?
Yeah.
This, statistically, this shouldn't be happening. But it's humility. It's like, this guy is so good versus me and at this matchup, but that's awesome. Like, I can work towards the better I do versus him is the better I'm going to do versus Plup and other Sheiks. It's like, I'm glad that you exist, because if I can beat you, I can do anything.
Damn. Yeah, that's true.
Bobby, have you noticed this common thread in everything? A lot of moments ZAIN's been bringing up, good problems to have.
Yeah, absolutely.
As soon as
yeah.
I said, I made a mental note of it when I was talking about the way it's like, oh, I just need to solo practice to get better. And Zain was like, that's a good problem to have. I would just practice that. And it's like, oh, you know, if you're a Falcon player, you're not sure where to go. It's like, that's exciting to me. That's a good problem to have. You have 3 really awesome playstyles at the top level that you can start emulating. And I feel like that's kind of a common thread is like everything that like one person could be like, oh man, I have to practice this thing. I have to solo practice for a long time. Oh, I have to like, you know, like I'm not sure where I want to go with my style. And like your first instinct is like, yeah, that's sick. That would be easy. It's easy to rise from there. And I think that's like probably, and I honestly like the vibe I'm getting is it's like, it's coming out of a place of almost effortlessness where it's like, that makes it, it's like second nature. It's second nature that you would see situations like that and be like, that's what, I live for that sort of thing. If there's a Sheik player that's top 40 that's beating me, that's great. That's a benchmark for me.
It should be fun.
Right.
Like, this is why we play Melee. Like, yeah.
Toph, that's what he just said. I think that's what's happening. That's different. Do you know what I'm saying? He's not. He's playing to win as an ends. If he's playing to have fun. That's what I'm trying to say.
Right.
He's playing to have fun, so he could let go of whether he wins or not. Which means that you never get salty because you're entitled because you think you should win. Because that's not the question that's being asked when you sit at the setup with Junebug. It's not I should win. Mm-hmm. It's just like, you know, let's play the game and like see what happens. And then if he starts beating you, it's like, damn, this guy's good.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean anything about how good ZAIN is to him. The only time that we got him to say that it means something, right, is when he's winning and starting to feel good about himself and then ends up getting bodied in the session. And then he's questioning meaning, and that's actually when he's not going to, like, do you ever come back from that? Probably not. You just get bodied. You got to find a way to move on. And it's probably really hard.
But then you take some time and you're at the bottom again. Yeah.
So he's got a reset function. But the time when he does worse is when it means something about how good he is. It's like when somebody gets him to question some shit. You know what I mean? Yeah. Then you're thinking too much. So it's like we almost have to like. There's something about this that is like easy, I think, but I can't quite put my finger on it. But it has to do with like winning, or who wins and who loses. I don't know, man. Is that so important?
Side note: I think that this is something that at least I've run into this problem, but I think this is something that net play can be bad for. Which is that like net play is such that like I think net play has gotten me to question if I'm like question how good I am and stuff like that way more than any. And I think a lot of it is just the fact that like sometimes you don't know who you're playing, or you don't know, like I've lost to people on net play where I'm like, damn, am I just like really ass?
Yeah.
Like what is going on with me? And the reality is it could be a multitude of factors, right? It could be anything. It could be anything. Like, you know, like some net play connections aren't as good as others, and you shouldn't. The reality is you shouldn't take them too seriously. But like the fact that there's like a rank associated with it, you know, there's this like online ladder thing. Like if you play too much Smash Ladder, I think that you can get in your own head about that sort of thing sometimes.
Yeah. It always baffles me to see how much people care about Smash Ladder rankings.
Right? Because
like,
they're so meaningless.
I've seen in my Twitch chat, it's like, what rank do you think you could get to, ZAIN? I'm like, what even are you talking about? Yeah. I was like, they're like gold 1, platinum. I don't even know what you're saying right now.
I think you could get to platinum, dude. I think
that means a lot.
Yeah, no problem, man. Yeah, it's wild. It's wild. I mean, I think it has its place. And one thing I will say is that the cool thing about it is, like, okay, I don't know, you're probably too good for this to even be applicable, but I've definitely found myself in, like, last hit or last stock scenarios on net play, and I'm in my room, like, kind of nervous, right? Feeling that sense of, like, I don't want to lose this or whatever, right? And I remember thinking to myself, this is actually kind of good practice for, like, you know, tournament clutch scenarios where it's like, I don't want to lose this. And it's like, okay, there's no other way I'm going to sit here in my room and get to feel that. So that's kind of good. But the problem is if you do it too much, or if you attach too much weight to it, and then and especially if you start losing and you start associating those feelings with, I think there's something there. I think you've got to manage it.
You're putting the weight on the I don't want to say the thing, but it's like the wrong thing.
Your self-worth should not lean on net play.
Right, for sure.
Or your results.
Or
especially not net play.
Especially, exactly. Yeah.
What does it lean on, ZAIN?
Just like, well, for me,
it's gotta
it's like I can always turn back to like family and friends.
Oh.
I'm about to start cursing you off, dude.
But that's good to have because like I could place last at literally dead last at a tournament and feel like shit, but I could turn to my family and feel.
Do you realize how OP that is? What about those of us who grew up lonely? Now I just get nerfed in tournament. That's so messed up, dude.
It is messed up.
That's so messed up.
It's really messed up.
That's why we got to be good friends to each other.
Yeah,
right?
that's important.
When we lose, we got to be sensitive to each other when we're salty. That's what I think that's so toxic when people get like pissed when other people are salty. Like we got to be supportive, man. That's a real feeling. They feel really upset they lost.
Yeah. Yeah. Man.
We got to have our homies' backs. But I'm mad that I get nerfed because I don't have a. So I put my self-worth on how I got 6th of Genesis and I was top Falcon. Now I'm not anymore.
Oh.
That's cool. I'm still pretty good.
Yeah, but literally everyone, even at the top level, it's just like so dangerous.
Yeah.
When you put everything on the line, just one tournament.
Yeah.
It's gonna hinder your results too.
Can't do it.
I'm thinking, like, did Armada play like that and just win?
Wow.
I've thought about Armada a lot because he is weird that way, right?
Yeah.
He's so weirdly consistent, like given how much it did seem like he had his everything on the line every time. And like I remember, who was it that he was down? He was like gonna lose. He was down like a lot. It was like game 3 or something. I don't know. He was getting washed by. Was it a Sheik? I think it was at Summit.
It's happened a couple times, like Rishi at Evo.
Rishi, yeah, Johnny that one time.
Johnny.
There was one time when he was
Auto at Evo
on FD. I remember it. I remember thinking to myself like, it's over, and he just like would not let go. And he like came back on his last stock. It was like he got shocked awake, and just made 0 mistakes.
I could definitely envision that. Yeah.
And I remember just sitting there like dumbfounded, like, what is going on in his head? You know what I mean? It just felt like he went so deep into the zone. It's almost like maybe he had his all on the line and like he literally got into like, I am going to die. Like as a human, like as a survival or death. And so like he forgot about, you know what I mean? It's like he let go of his life because it's like, all right,
Yeah, I've also heard people compare that. Like, I've heard Hungrybox does that as well when he plays in tournament. It's like gun to his head. Like,
wow.
See, but he likes it, right? HBox likes it. He likes the gun to his head feeling.
That's not Armada doesn't. That's why he retired, right?
Armada does not like it. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And if you read Inner Game of Tennis, right? Like in the prologue or the last chapter or whatever, the dude talks about how he got like stranded, you know, and he was gonna freeze to death, and he was when he realized like, all right, I'm probably gonna die. Then he just like ran like faster than he did before, and he had crazy stamina because he like let go of everything.
Yeah.
It was like, all right, I might die, and then all of a sudden the stars look beautiful. It's like, what?
Oh God.
You know what I mean? That's like what he literally wrote. So I mean, maybe that happened on that day, where Armada was just like, all right, you know, I'm dead, but the game's beautiful. Let me just do what I can.
That's badass.
And then when he played so filthy because he was like he transcended mortality.
You know,
but sometimes he doesn't. Sometimes he loses.
Yeah.
Zain, you might be right, man. Because I'm thinking like in particular Mango and Leffen here are two of the top players that. If you guys remember, Mango and Leffen both used to make way saltier. I mean, Leffen in particular was like famous for it, but Mango too has had a period where you know when he'd lose an event, he'd always make like almost apologetic tweets to his fans or whatever, and he was like really. And I feel like,
really,
there was a period where he was like that. Yeah. I want to say like when he was like #1, like 2013, 2014, and then like
he was
when
#1 for too long.
That. Yeah.
You can't be the Eagles and be #1 for too long.
And I want to say both Mango and Leffen, and maybe some of the other, you know, super top players as well, but I guess those are the two that come to mind for me. I think they kind of learned in their own ways that it's just not sustainable. Like getting mad and you know, going on Twitter, and like they both got way better at it over the years. So I think that's the lesson they had to learn. And I wonder if Armada just didn't have to learn that lesson. Like Armada, he never disattached you know, the sense of value from the results, but he didn't ever really have to because he always won. And so it just chipped away at him. You know, he took losses at a slower pace than everyone else because he didn't lose very much. But it just chipped away at him long enough over the years. I mean,
Armada's definitely interesting in that way.
He is.
I don't know that I could quite fully say it, but yeah, I feel like he's
a harder one for me to think about.
Yeah.
But I do think that you're right, though, that he did put his worth on the line, like, all the time. I mean, he's the only person who was that good and who retired, like, on top a couple times. You know what I mean?
More than
Like,
once, yeah.
He took a break one time when he was, like, the best.
Did the same
He just
thing.
took, he was like, all right, I need a break.
He didn't even say I need a break. Well, he said I was quitting, and then he came back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's probably what he did.
After did he come back? It was when EVO got announced, right?
Yeah, because I want to say the first EVO he entered. Hang on. Yeah, it was around that timeline. I want to say the first EVO he entered and he got 4th or something, and he was like kind of back, and then he like kind of fully came back.
I remember I went to Beast. I don't know if it was 2014 or 2015, and I know that was during his break because he didn't enter. We went to Sweden and he didn't enter. Mango was pissed. But they played friendlies and Mango got washed.
I remember that, the 4-stop.
He got washed.
A forward smash him. Yeah, that was early 2013.
Oh, that was a friendly?
So yeah, I mean,
yeah,
that
those
was
were friendlies. They
was
played
like
friendlies
right
for
before.
an hour and a half.
Yeah, I remember Armada 4-stocked him twice. I remember watching this thing like, damn, I guess Armada was just the best. Like, if he's hasn't been practicing and he's doing this to Mango, I'm like...
I remember I was talking to... I don't even know if I should talk about it because it's, you know, it's like a little homie moment.
Yeah.
But Mango was like, dude, I just can't approach. That's just the truth.
What? The one
2013. Yeah, right before the first EVO.
That's so funny because that gets reiterated like every year.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it true?
For me, it's the opposite. It's like I gotta approach.
I gotta approach.
I gotta approach.
That's so funny. Wait, but why do you not like a? What do you find so fun about playing the game? I like approaching and hitting you.
It's like being right outside of a person's attack.
So he likes being outside of a that's what he likes.
I do.
He likes it.
It's fun.
You should play. Yeah, that's like why you
like being right there.
You gotta play Marth.
It's like when I played like recently. I've been playing like Hollow Knight and Celeste.
Yeah.
Platform. Like I enjoy that like pixel. Like I'm like like I do enjoy that. I think it's sick.
It is.
And
sick.
I don't think it is viewed traditionally as sick. Like, because if you only play like that, then yeah, it's gonna get boring. So like, for me, building off of that, like, yeah, I gotta like learn more ways to like put pressure. I do think I have recently like put pressure on my opponents, especially versus like.
Why do you like that? I don't like that.
You don't like that at all?
No, 'cause you mess up a lot.
Well, ZAIN doesn't mess up that much, so.
I know they're related. They're definitely related. The fact that I don't like the situation, see what I'm saying?
Yeah. I don't know.
Did you get hit a lot in Hollow Knight? I mean, if you're playing like that, I feel like you would get hit a lot. But maybe you're good enough.
Sure. But like when I get hit, I'm like, oh, I could have dodged that. And then like, yeah, I don't know. For me, that's super fun.
Damn, that's actually so sick because I do know that, you know, I feel like when players get really stuck in matchups, they don't think they could dodge it. They get hit and they're like, damn, this is fucking guaranteed. This game is stupid.
Yeah, I've been there.
You know who I had to restructure my mindset against was Johnny. He just bodied me for the longest time. I'm like, I can't dodge this guy.
Just hit you.
Yeah.
Was
so
he one of the ones where you were like, I have to approach?
Yes. Yeah, I have to be on him at all times, and that's
you
how
have to disrespect Falcon as Marth, I think.
How I restructured it. Like that. That's how I can't just like. I can do it against Wizzy because he doesn't like fully commit to the overshoot. Yeah, but like against John, he just comes at you like a truck, and I can't dash dance perfectly around that like fully overshot shooting Falcon. So like you have to be on him.
How did you learn how to do that? Did that suck? See, this is interesting too, because you were forced off of the playstyle you wanted.
Yeah. No, I think I just like melee so much that it was still fun.
How did you think about it? Like, because I think I get what you're saying about like dodging a little bit, but what does it mean to be on somebody?
From SJ's perspective, it's just
Yours.
Like everything that usually works against every other Falcon is not working against this guy. Like this is not a viable solution. Yeah, so that's what I was saying. I would watch like PPU's videos against Johnny, because like he had some. He wore this tag. It's tape. He wore
tape.
The tape
I remember the tape tag. I thought it was really weird.
Yeah, because it's like when he put, I forget the actual. Do you know what it is, Tom? He put tape on like the top of a cat's like. Like trying to like scratch it, or they try and get it, and they're like spinning around and stuff.
Yep.
He's like, the Marth wants to be like the tape on the Falcon. Yeah, so you're just like constantly on him, and he can't touch you, and like you get a grab on. You just tech chase him, frustrate him.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's what it. Yeah.
So I remember when he told me that, I was like, oh my god, that's super.
Yeah, that's really good. That's really, really good. I definitely have done that when I had a cat. I put tape on it one time. It's really funny. They really don't like it. They really don't like it.
Yeah.
Is there a good video of this?
I remember Kevin linked me one. I was losing my mind.
I could yeah, I could throw something on the overlay if we got any footage.
I don't think people are realizing how thrown off the cat gets by the tape. It's pretty drastic.
Yeah, they do. What are you looking for, Bobby? If you have a video that you want me to throw on.
I'm watching one, but I'm trying to get this sense of like what it is. Like that. What is this strategy?
Can you just link it to me? I just want to show. Oh, I love the little Google Hangouts little noise.
I'm not sure that this is like that.
Oh.
Like 6,000 views. Only 6,000 views on this one. This cat's like not moving that much, but it seems very upset.
Oh, I thought you were gonna find a video of Pew Pew. I see that we found a video of.
No, I don't care about the video of Pew Pew. I care about what the cat looks like, man.
Yeah, let me.
I don't know why the cat equals experiment. This has 5.6 million views.
5.6 million views sounds good.
Yeah.
Anyway, maybe we'll watch it later. But I think that's really interesting. Because I guess with Marth in a lot of matchups, you kind of can dodge it.
Yeah, 100%. Like versus Fox and Falco. Yeah.
You can kind of dodge it, right?
You can dodge, yeah. Oh, he found
it. What about with Puff? You can't always dodge it.
That's a different matchup. I also really enjoy that one, but that one is like just aerial drift battle, like the game. Puff is also kind of a thrill because like the ground game, like you can dash grab crafting Puff, and it always feels like I'm risking my life every time I do. Even though I feel like I get it pretty consistently, there's like this part of my head like, what if I miss time it just like this one time?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that must be a thrill.
Yeah.
That scares me.
When I go for it? Or the idea of it?
If I identify like as you, if I think about what it would be like to be you, I'm super scared to do it. Because I mean, it's scary.
But I need to do it. Yeah.
You do need to do it. You do need to do it, but like, damn, dude, that's scary. That you need to do something that's so scary. That makes it scarier. But see, then again, I'm thinking about it. Thinking is underpowered. That's the new.
You get good at it. And you
dude.
Yeah.
Thinking is only so good.
Thinking is only so good. Yeah. Thinking is good for like unearthing new solutions. But it's not good.
In your opinion, Zane? Do you feel like
in the sense that like if you literally don't know, okay, like say Johnny's beating you and you literally don't know you need to approach more, like you probably need to do some thinking to get to like, what do I need to do to beat him? And then you're like, I need to approach. And then if you think further and you're like, damn, that's scary, and then you start getting into all that, that's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is gonna sound weird. Most of my game plan strategizing I come up with like in the shower. It's like the weirdest thing. Like
the shower's great for thinking. Something
not
about
weird
it.
at all.
I think about only Melee in the chat. I just like
Oh,
I like visualize my matches and stuff, and like that's where I think about the game the most. I
Yeah,
don't know why. It's just like how it's always been since I started.
it's pretty fun, right?
Yeah,
It's like rewarding in itself to like think about the game.
yeah. I thought
Do you
about
feel like you went and watched
TikTok.
PPU? Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go for it.
Oh, I was gonna ask like if you feel like how much thinking did you do before? I mean, you must have thought to come to the conclusion that you can't dodge the guy, but like, do you feel like you did more imitating and like studying of like kind of watch PPU and see what works or whatever versus Falcon, or were you kind of like thinking about it in a different way?
That was more emulation at the beginning, like giving me a baseline to work with, and then I would play.
I think that's important. That's what I would have guessed.
Yeah. Luckily, like I played Johnny on net play a lot actually. Like it was like
That is
80
lucky.
but yeah, but it. I mean, I always see it as I'm always down to play friendlies, even with like people that I usually like beat all the time, just because you're like advancing the game. It's sick.
Yeah.
So, like I was playing Zach yesterday. I was playing. I played Bobby all the time. Bobby
Yeah.
Big Balls.
I've seen those.
Yeah, I enjoy just playing friendlies. Like even if the other person has more to gain, so to speak.
Yeah.
Uh,
What is it like to emulate in your like? What do you do? Are you like literally kind of like visualizing and like pretending and?
Yeah, I think I don't know. I think I'm actually pretty good at just like copying and Melee. I don't, or in general actually when I learn just like new things. I think it's just like the way my memory works or something.
Do you know what the messed up thing is? Actually, that's literally true of all humans, but a lot of us think that it's not what's happening. So whether it's luck or not, like you just happen to like the way you conceptualize how you learn is just the truth, which makes it easier for you because you don't think that you're doing something that you're not. We learn most things. There's actually like a bunch of data, like neuroscience or whatever about mirror neurons and stuff like that. Like when we watch someone else do something, like when we're really watching, our like brain is like sending us the signals that it like can see you could see their movement, and like we're actually doing it in our brains, but then our brain's also sending like suppression signals to our limbs. So our limbs don't move, but like our brain is actually doing the motion.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Wow.
Isn't that wild? So like
Yeah.
actually that we do learn it. That's why I asked, because I wanted to see like, you know, if you feel like you're really emulating, you know what I mean? Like you're really kind of doing it in character.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
really are able to, like every single human's able to do that, but we don't realize the extent of it.
Yeah.
And then when we get self-conscious, it sucks. So I'm trying to see how much self-consciousness is in there up in your head, and it's very little.
I think it is very little. Yeah,
Very
I don't-
little, which is really good.
That's good. Yeah, that's good.
Because that's self too overstepping. Or so who's the one who's annoying?
I
Self
mix
too.
them up. Self too.
I'm pretty sure self too.
Yeah.
I think.
What do you think about all this, Toph? You think this is all interesting? I'm fascinated by all this.
I love this stuff. Yeah. I as an overthinker. And it's funny. I mean, I just think it's funny that like all this stuff is just like the human race has had to rediscover this so many times. Like, you sent me the the mysterious record of immovable wisdom. It's like this like Zen text.
Yeah.
Zain, it's basically this. So you've read the Inner Game of Tennis. It's basically like imagine in the 1500s. 1500s? Like this
Maybe
Zen
earlier.
master, maybe earlier. There's the Zen master, and he wrote like a letter to this sword master who's a friend of his, who's like a teacher. He taught people how to, fight with swords. And he was basically telling him, hey, the Zen master also was pretty good with the sword, so he like can relate, right? And he was basically like, well, TLDR was basically the Inner Game of Tennis, except instead of being about tennis, it was about swords, but it was all the same shit, and it's all like basically yeah, and it's literally like, and I was reading this thing, and I was like, damn, like you're telling me like fucking Zen masters have known all this shit for hundreds and hundreds of years, and the thing that I always find funny is like, it's like if experts have known these concepts for hundreds of years, is it funny that like we have to just like they haven't entered into mainstream thought yet? Like, why don't we all know this stuff now? Like
You're not taught this.
You're not taught this, right? Yeah, like
Yeah.
it's. I think it's
That's
so
whack.
funny.
We've been let down, dude.
But yeah, like
You
all
don't go
this.
to elementary you're not taking mentality classes. And
no, you don't have to
honestly,
for a lot of fields. But...
yeah, if we did have that to complement like your studies in school,
I wish, man.
it'd be so much easier.
Yeah, right? Learning
Yeah.
about fucking... Imagine all the students that, like, you know, burn out or, like, you know, like... Their head's in the wrong place because of this, that, and the other. And, like, imagine if they, like, had any sense of guidance. Because, I mean, I have to imagine even there's probably a lot of parents that don't really know how to talk about this stuff with their kids, right? So...
Yeah.
I gotta find it because people are asking for it in the chat. I just opened up the chat.
Yeah.
Quick. I think I found it.
Can we get a link to this? Yeah, it's like on the front. I can. It's like there's like a PDF. Like if you just Google it, it's like right there. I got it. Yeah, I just bookmarked it. Oh, you got it. Okay, yeah.
That's the one that I sent to you.
Yep,
I mean, I don't know if it's the same.
No, that's the one. Yeah, it's really good. I mean, it's not that long. It's like
No, it's not that long.
It's not that long.
Yeah, I was like deep into Self 1, Self 2 stuff, and I was just like reading about it. There's like a book, Zen and the Art of Archery, which came before Intergame Tennis, which I read, and then I think that book referenced this, and so then I found this. And
how did you come about this?
I don't remember. I think I was just like reading. I may even have like read the Wikipedia article for Intergame of Tennis, you know, and it said like that it was based on or derived from or whatever, this Art of Archery one. And then the Art of Archery, there was an audiobook. And I was listening. That one's really short. And I listened to that, and that was dope. And I think he literally said like the unfettered mind in it. And so I like looked it up. Yeah, and I was just reading a lot of things. I was like, you know, because I think for me, I went so far in the wrong direction, you know, that like I had no choice but to kind of figure out what was going on. And I think only in the last couple weeks do I really see that like, oh fuck, like thinking is only like you can't like it doesn't work that way. Like when you think you can go inside something, but you always have to take what you learned and bring it back out. You know what I'm trying to say? I'm sure you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
You can't stay in that thinking place. You got to bring it back to like when you're just playing Melee.
Yes.
So you play Melee, you get experience, you go in and you think about it in that way, but then you got to come back out.
Yeah, like you can't take that much with you.
You can't
take that much with you.
That's annoying, but true.
Yeah.
I think that's why I don't want to only take the little bit. I want to take more.
Yeah, it's because everything has to be. The process of mastery is like step by step, right? Like you're not gonna in Melee or something. I'm not gonna learn how to pivot and fucking PC drop and do all this all within the same session. Like that's just like so inefficient.
Why do you think it's inefficient? I think a lot of us think like, oh yeah, I could do that.
You're not gonna get good at one particular. Like I don't know why I went about it. I think I'm just like more obsessive.
You want to get it perfect.
When I do the one thing, it's like it's gonna be really good. So that's kind of the approach I took with it. Like you can't juggling that much at once is just a recipe for disaster. Maybe some people can do it, but I'm definitely not one of those people.
No one can do it.
No one can do it.
You know how I know no one can do it? Because everyone is trying.
And no one's
like you beat everybody's. Yeah, nobody's gone from postdoc. We've had so many players come in and they're all trying to juggle things. And then here ZAIN comes. Oh, I'm not going to juggle anything. I'm just going to do one thing at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here he is.
It's like a really good way to learn the game and get really good at it.
Yeah. That's pretty wild. Hey, how much did you have a screen time limit when you were a kid?
Yeah. Well,
what was the limit?
I'd always break it, but my mom would always be like 2 hours.
2 hours?
2 hours, which is pretty generous, actually.
That's pretty good. From how old? I'm coming up with my policy right now.
I played.
Can I talk to your parents? Can I have a voice call with your parents? I want to talk to them about how
sure.
it hit you.
Yeah, but so I started gaming. The first game I played was Soul Calibur on the Dreamcast.
Oh.
So I was like 3 or 4, and I.
You were 3?
Yeah, I believe I was. Maybe 4.
How old are you now?
23.
Good for you. Good for you, man. Good for you. I was 23 10 years ago, dude. I was 23 10 years ago. Friggin', what was that? That's how long it was since, like, Orin saw Jekt.
Fantasy 10 too. Or I watch my brother
It's
play
been
that
10
game.
years. Everything in that game. It's been 10 years, I think.
Yeah. But yeah, I from the ages of like probably 4 to like 12, I'd have like some not like really strict, but my mom would just be like 2 hours, remember? And then sometimes I'd say longer, and then she'd be like, "Oh fuck it." Like,
Would you listen to it sometimes? Would you do it sometimes?
I was like really when I was a kid, I was like really I followed the rules, which I kind of regret that.
You do?
In school, I do.
In school, you
Yeah, school rules are dumb.
Elementary school, I regret putting so much stress on myself for like grades and stuff when I could like other things I could be working on are so much more valuable than. I stress about art. I suck at art, so like art class in elementary school was a big source of anxiety and stress.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, like
I hated art class.
I had O's for outstanding and everything, and then I had an S for satisfactory in art. I'm like, am I only satisfactory? Like, I was like, it was scarring.
Yeah, yeah, and like that's one way to make sure a kid's not gonna like art.
I hate art.
Yeah, I hate art too
hate
because of fucking art class and getting shitty grades in art. And my teacher telling me that I was bad at drawing or whatever. I'm like, well, you tell me I'm bad at drawing, I probably am.
Guarantee they didn't teach you like the unfettered mind and the way to get good at art is to let go.
Maybe I'd be drawing right now.
Yeah, if they told you to let go, don't worry about it. Like just and then when you do it, like just think about what you did and then try to do it better next time. That's the way you should teach art. It should be mentality class.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate it. I hated art. Oh my god, dude, it's true. I feel like
it's such bad teaching now that I think about it.
It's awful teaching.
I have this.
Dude, if you think about it, you'll get mad.
Yeah.
So
dude, I wish my fucking superiors did a better job of. Okay, I have this really like funny like aside, which is that so I spent the first 3 years of my elementary school in Singapore, right? So like up to grade 3, I basically lived in Singapore. Then grade 4, I moved to America. Okay, so like in Singapore, basically the way it works is like everyone learns English and you learn one secondary language. So and they do it. This is like government mandated basically. It's like they do it like Lee Kuan Yew like did this shit back in the 60s or whatever. But it's like if you're like. Basically, whatever your background, your ethnic background is, like that's the language you take. That's your secondary language, and you can take a third language way later. But like, so Chinese kids all learn Mandarin, like Indian kids all learn Tamil, Malaysian kids all learn Malay. And I'm half Chinese, so I was learning Chinese, and I didn't know this. Apparently, like I didn't realize this, I guess. But so, apparently, I had the highest grade in my whole highest grade in my whole grade. For Mandarin Chinese when I was a kid.
You're filthy.
Yes, apparently I was filthy. But I remember having a complex. I'm not gonna say like it's as extreme as a complex, but I remember thinking when I was in school, because I was the only white kid. My class is 40 people, and I'm the only white kid. Well, I'm the only half white kid, right? Which everyone else is like fully something. And I was like half white. So of all the people in my Chinese class, I was the only person that wasn't fully Chinese. And I remember thinking to myself, geez, I must be really bad at Chinese because most of these guys a lot of these guys are speaking Chinese at home or whatever, blah, blah, blah. I'm not. I'm only speaking English. My dad's American. And I remember thinking to I remember like up until very recently, I thought I was kind of poor at Mandarin. And basically when we moved to the US, I completely dropped it. I stopped doing Chinese, right? I like lost all of it. And I went back to Singapore, like, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago, or so, like, recently, like, in my adult life, and I remember my family, they were making a point to me, like, you were so good at Chinese, like, how did you lose all of it? And I was like, why did any of you tell me that? If any of you had told me I was good at it, I was going to school, and I was thinking, I'm the only white kid here, like, I must be bad at it, like, it would make sense for me to be the worst, because I'm the only one who's not speaking it at home, probably, and you're telling me I was the best at it. If you told me I was the best at it, I would have kept fucking going. And I don't know. I just think it's so funny. Like, yeah, okay. On one hand, you got to teach your kids not to like get overinflated sense of whatever. But on the other hand, you got to give them credit where credit's due. I don't know. It's a fine line, right? It's like there's like a balance.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just think that's so funny. If anyone had ever stopped to tell me, like, hey, you know, you can do this thing. A little bit, just a little bit. I don't know. I just feel like I didn't get any.
Yeah.
I think it's like the art thing.
You know what made it worse was there was this girl in my class. I was painting something. Yeah, granted it was bad, probably, but she looks over at it. She doesn't call it bad. She doesn't call it good.
Yeah.
She just looks at it and says, "That's average." And it like sank into me. I was like,
Yeah.
Average. I'd rather you call me dog shit.
Yeah. It doesn't
Like,
sound good.
Yeah, like wow, it was like first grade. I was like, oh my god. When I think about it now, like those are some biting words.
They are. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is.
Average. I'd rather start. Yeah. It's like this is the most you can accomplish within this like field. Like that's.
Yeah. Something about saying that something's average is like it implies some kind of finality, right? Like this is your final form.
Yeah. Average.
If somebody says you suck, like at least it implies you could get better, right?
Get better. Yeah. Average. Yeah.
Ouch.
Especially when like a lot of the shit that adults tell kids, a lot of it is like if you're good at something, it's like you're gifted. You know, you're like, oh, you're so talented or whatever. It's like you like learn. Like I feel like kids almost are taught. Hopefully, it's not still the case, but I feel like when I was a kid, like the things that I was good at or whatever, or that like people like told me that I was good at, they worded it in such a way where it was like innate. So you didn't feel like. So then, if someone tells you you're average at something, it makes it feel like, okay, I must have no talent at this thing, so I'll stop doing it.
Did you guys have in your school system like GT programs? Like,
yeah.
For gifted and talented?
Yeah.
It's like so messed up if I think about it now, because like everyone's aware of it.
Everyone's aware of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Like a class system. It's like these kids go into a separate class to learn. It's like a few of them. They're the GT kids.
Yeah.
Who learn a high level math, high level English.
It is kind of weird. Yeah.
And you got the average kids, and then you have. It was like another section. It was like people who are really struggling with reading comprehension and that.
Right.
3 different layers. It's like your self-worth is obviously going to be, especially as a young kid, right? Like, what are people thinking?
And then you start doing and I feel like you
know what they're thinking, right?
What are they thinking?
Dude, it's so frustrating, but it's like, it's what, I think it's what makes it easier for the teachers. They're thinking about themselves. Let me just split the kids up, and then I don't have to worry about it.
Right.
I'll just teach these kids better, like they're smart, and I'll just teach these kids like they're not.
Intrinsic laziness.
Yeah.
Intrinsic laziness, yeah.
It's like it's not thinking about the kids, it's thinking about,
Yeah, it's making me mad when I think about it.
That's what we called it. We called it honors.
Honors.
Yeah, we had that in high school. It was like AP honors regular.
Yeah.
But this was elementary. Like I feel like at a younger level, it's even more debilitating to your development.
Yeah.
GT and like the word gifted and talented.
Yeah, that's the language.
Yeah. Gifted.
I didn't
and
have
talented. These kids are gifted and talented. You guys are normal, and you guys might as well be dog shit. So
you guys gifted and talented? Were you guys normal?
I was in GT for reading comprehension. I was normal at math, which is really weird to think about. Like, everyone expects me to be super good at math and sciences because I'm brown, I think. But like, I am not good at math. I prefer. I really enjoy writing, actually. I think it's like one of my stronger suits.
I'm not that surprised, actually. You probably, yeah. I'm not that surprised. Because I feel like the people who are really good at math, or who, like when I think about it, like I don't think that I'm good at math so much as I think mathematically. Like my mind, it's harmonized. It's like in harmony with how I think. Yeah. So, but then at the same time, it causes me to overthink, which I don't even think is the right language anymore. But you know what I mean? It causes me to think about things in that way.
Yeah.
Where it would be better if I could let go of that, or
Mm-hmm.
Bobby, I have a question about another friend of ours that this just got me thinking on a tangent, right? And I was watching a video this week made by one Hacks Money. And he was explaining, what the hell was he explaining? He was explaining the phenomenon. You know, in Melee, Zane, you probably know this. Bobby, maybe you know this. You know, if you do an aerial on the first frame that you've left the ground when you do a jump, it like changes how long you're in the air for.
Yes.
So you know that. I know you know that, Zane. Bobby, do you know that? If you jump, if you short hop, really good with Falcon. Actually, if you leave the ground and you do like a nair on your first frame, you actually spend less time in the air. You actually, and what it is, I've always known that was kind of a thing. I didn't really know why, so Hacks made a video talking about it on a very technical level. It turns out what's happening is that like the game sets like a Y velocity for your character, And if you do an aerial the first frame you leave the ground, it sets that velocity immediately, versus otherwise it waits to the second frame before it does that. Sorry. It sets it, I take that back. It sets the Y velocity. What it does is it starts, so there's like the game is gravity, and the game puts gravity on you, on the first frame instead of the second frame.
Interesting.
So anyway, Hacks made like a 6-minute video about this, and I was watching this, and I was like, and I mean, this is a thought I had when I read Hacks' box document too, but I was like, Hacks is really, like, the way he talks, even the language he uses in these videos is like, you would expect that he's like just this math nerd. The way he taught, and I was kind of like thinking like, I mean, I've known Aziz for quite a long time, and I've never had this impression of him, but I feel like he just found his thing that he really cared about, right? And he dove really deeply into this area. And suddenly I'm watching these videos where he's like, yeah, you know, the Y velocity, blah, 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 and then the acceleration. And he's basically, I mean, what that basically is it's basically calculus. You know, the rate of change of like of a number, right? That's calculus, right? And Hacks is basically talking about, you know, this thing that, I mean, I don't think like Aziz was, I never had that picture of him as like being a math nerd when I knew him for many years. But I feel like that's kind of a classic thing where it's like you find the thing you care about and suddenly you delve really deeply into it. And I feel like for kids that like are bad at math or whatever, a lot of it is just they don't have anything they fucking care about to that degree. So of course they're going to be bad at.
Just listen to the word problems that are associated when you like learn math. It's just like the most mundane.
They're so, oh yeah.
Yeah, they're bad.
You just tune out. You super tune out.
I lost at the word problem.
What did I do? You know what? I don't know if I don't think I liked word problems either. I think I just liked the equations. But I just remember playing with like, I remember when I was in 2nd or 3rd grade or whatever, like when you learn subtraction, I remember thinking about like, oh damn, but what if you subtract like, because they told you the rule is you have to have the bigger number first, right? I was like, well, what if you break that? Or like, what happens? I just remember being like, I like to play with the numbers. Like I would make up my own little problems. Like when the teachers were teaching and I would have like an idea. It's like, oh, but what if this happens? And it was just fun.
I think I did that too.
Did you ever ask those questions?
Huh?
Did you ever ask those questions to your teachers?
No, I figured them out. I like to figure them out on my own more than to get the answer. See, this is the thing, right? Like I feel like this is parallel to how you talk about Melee, where it's like, I don't think that you would necessarily, you know what I mean? You don't always want to know, like you don't, sometimes the fun is just like doing the thing. Like I just want to kind of do it. Like it's not, the goal isn't to have the answer. It's to like play around with the.
Definitely. Yeah.
I'm almost thinking about like with art where it's like, what does it even mean to be good or bad at Melee? Like if you're not, that's not the right way to put it, but I'm just having this thought where like with Mandarin or whatever.
Yeah.
Like what is fun about it? It's that you understand how to, like, you can hear it and make sense of it and you can kind of speak it. So that should be all that there is to it, you know?
Right.
Do you enjoy that or not? Like you don't even need to think about whether you're good at it or whether you're, it's like if it's fun, if it kind of feels good, you know, if it's, and like cool.
I think I linked it to a sense of anxiety. I think it ties back to the whole anxiety thing. I think I had a
and
sense
then
of
you
anxiety.
end up, right? It's like, F this, I don't want to be.
My sense was like, I can't communicate in Chinese to the degree that these guys can, so I never really pushed it, you know? And I have to imagine that the education at that, I mean, this was 1st grade, 2nd grade, right? So I was probably just good at it from a rote perspective, but I was never inspired to go any further.
That's frustrating.
Yeah, it sucks.
I gotta think about this with my kid, because it's like...
Yeah, dude.
Because there's something, like, super important here. It's almost like thinking about whether you're good and bad at something is, like, not the point. It's like what you can do with the skill that you have now and whether that's fun or whether that's boring. Or
whether that's fun or whether that's
boring. I mean,
because
as soon as you're worried about whether you're good at something, you're not even... It's not possible to have fun, right? You're just worried about whether you're good or not.
That's the benefit of chasing your passion.
Yeah.
It comes easily once you know what you like and that you can pinpoint that you're having fun with it. The improvement just comes naturally.
Yeah. But you know what's cool? I mean, I want to bring this up because I think it's important, but I think however you think about it, ZAIN, is perfect. But I keep getting the sense that, like, you know, the outcome, it's like, for me, if you get attached to the outcome, then you can start getting pissed off, because it's like sometimes you can't, right? Sometimes you can't make yourself win. Like if you keep doing what you're doing, then you'll win when the time is right. But if like losing is enough to stop you or to get you to start getting angry, then it can kind of like infect all the, you know what I mean? It's like so important to not get fixated on an outcome. Because even for me, like I've been passionate about trying to figure out how humans work and communities work and stuff like that, and like build the best fucking online shit for Melee in the whole history of, you know what I mean? Like the sickest thing. And in my head, I have the sickest thing possible. It'd be so godlike. But like I can't force the people around me to do it. So I kept like running into that wall and like trying to figure out how to get people to do something or whatever. But it's like you can never force the outcome.
Yeah.
Which is really annoying, but it's just true.
That's hard to answer. All you can do is just trust in what you believe in and like work like what you have in your mind. Like if you truly believe that that's something that's awesome, you just have to keep working at it until people naturally recognize it. Which I think, if it's something that you truly believe in, I think
This is kind of interesting. Actually, you mind if we talk about this for a minute?
Sure. Yeah.
Toph, do you mind?
No, yeah. I'm fascinated. Sorry, I was
filthy.
Of course I don't.
So I think I did the fun part. The fun part was like thinking about it and like making it all work. But now I feel like the idea or whatever, like it all works now. Like I get how it's gonna work. Like I feel like I get it now. So I kind of feel like I did the fun part.
So what comes next is like harder for you?
It's more like I don't know how to make it feel fun to try to do it, because I don't think that in the doing is the thing that I found fun. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You like the planning part.
I love the part of like what is going on with humans, right? Like why does all this stuff work? Like what is it about streaming that makes the people organize in a certain way? You know what I mean? Like it tends to create these like shared values, and like what is it about Melee that makes us different than a company, for example? I loved all that. But then I don't have any joy in like, I don't know, like
implementing it.
The practical realities of talking with people in a company, and like being in a company. Because the company doesn't have to do what I want to do. The company's just going to do, you know what I'm trying to say? Like,
I understand.
Yeah.
It's so different. It's like, it has nothing to do with the thinking part that I found so much fun.
The thing is, I feel like there are people who love that part.
Yeah. Yeah, you're probably, I agree with you. I think that would be the best way to do it. Like if I could find somebody who just loves
that.
Yeah. And there are people.
That's their people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People taking an idea that's fleshed out and bringing that to realization.
How could I, but I don't know if I wonder if I could just kind of decide to like that.
I don't know. That's forcing that might be hard.
Yeah. It might be. I mean, it's. I wonder if that's if it could be similar to the whole. We were talking earlier about like liking anxiety, or like linking something that you have negative emotions with, but then kind of going through. I don't know. You go talk to somebody and they give you they give you good vibes or something, and then you start having good experiences related to the thing that you used to have a bad mindset about, and you just kind of slowly go through experiences that are tied to positive feelings, and then by doing that enough, you're kind of like, well, this isn't so bad, and then
I actually like that approach. Yeah.
I always think about Bobby. I remember this always stuck with me. You tweeted it. I think you tweeted, it might have been in like a group chat or something, but I think you tweeted it, Tafo, or maybe it was like on a podcast or something. Anyway, we were talking and you asked him like, how do you like, because back then Tafo was really active. I mean, now he's more doing League of Legends stuff. Back then he was really active. He was doing all this, he was still working at NASA, but he was doing all this side stuff for MIOM and all this stuff. And I remember you asked him like, how do you like just like do stuff? Like, how do you get this productive? And Tafo was like, yeah, it like sucks when you sit there and you think about like how much work something's gonna be, and I like that he said that. I like that he started with that, because I was like, okay, cool, we're starting on the same page. What I didn't want to hear was, like, oh yeah,
do it or whatever,
or like yeah, like maybe he like likes whatever. So he was like, yeah, it does suck. It does suck. You build up this mountain or whatever of like, this is all this shit that I have to do now, you know, and that sucks, and it feels daunting. But what I do instead is, I realize that sucks. I realize that thinking about it sucks. So instead of thinking about it, I just start doing it. So like we're starting from the same place, which is like thinking about like building up this like idea of like, shit, I got all this shit to do. That does suck. And because I know it sucks, and because I agree with you that it sucks, I avoid it actively, as opposed to like, I was never there in the first place.
There's an end game satisfaction.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you build that in your head. You're like, I just have to clear.
You have to clear it. Yeah, you just gotta.
It's like this part will suck, but
almost saying it'll suck almost makes it okay. You're like, well, if it's gonna suck, and if people agree with me that it sucks.
You're resigning yourself.
All right, yeah.
Yes.
You know what else is becoming clear to me as we talk about this is, remember earlier in this discussion we talked about how Fox players are more prone to think like, okay, I just need my execution to be good, and then like that's how I'm going to get better. Like I don't need to do anything else. Like a very one-player mindset. There's no Fox in companies, you know what I mean? Like there's no. I think maybe that game is like so much more in the other direction of like it's not really tech skill, you know. And maybe that's like annoying to me. Like I really want to be able to like be sick at execution, and just like if I come up with the right plan and I stick to it, it'll just work. I think probably being in a company, being on a team is too relational. Like you just can't.
You can maybe do that at startups.
Maybe
startups are the one-player game, but not big companies.
Yeah, I think that like working in groups of people like that. Do you guys play any team games?
Yeah, I started playing Valorant.
I'm like pretty interested. I'm pretty interested in what it takes to be a good team player. I'm like pretty interested in that. I don't think I really understand it because I don't think I've ever really been on like a competitive team.
I'm pretty experienced with it. Like even in melee teams, like I'm not.
Even melee teams.
Like if you think about like I'm not like a doubles. You look at me, you don't think doubles,
dude. ZAIN and Milkman, come on.
Oh, all right. Listen,
come on.
Corey, but he doesn't play anymore. So like, the set like we like had good like we took Meet King Club Game 5. Like me and Corey, like that's a testament to how good he is at teams.
That's really good. Yeah.
Yeah, he just doesn't play much anymore.
ZAIN, did you know me and Mango took a set off MTK and HBox?
I learned that recently, actually.
Oh, you okay? Just wanted.
Yeah. That's actually wild.
I mean, I know where you're coming from though, because it's like when I think, the team's Marth, I think Pew Pew. I'm like Zach and Kevin. I'm just like, I don't understand how they do the shit they do. I remember there was one tournament. There was a period where me and Otto were doing pretty good at like teams tournaments. And I remember we entered Evo teams, and we had to play PewFat. And I remember they destroyed us really bad. And two, like, there was a moment where, like, I was on one side of the stage, and, like, Otto and Zach were fighting in the middle of the stage, and then Kevin, like, hit me, and then he zero-deathed me across the stage, like, through the foxes that were fighting. And just, like, and I was like, what is going on? Like, what the fuck?
They're on a different level.
I was just like, how is he doing this? And then every time I ask him about it, he gives me the most, like, because I almost think, you were talking about how people ask for advice or whatever. And I almost think I just don't even know the questions to ask. Because I'm like the fucking pool scrub that gets O2'd. And I tried asking him, like, what...
Even though the single skill gap isn't, like...
It's not...
comparable.
Right, if I ask him about single stuff, like, I can, But I ask him, like, and he's like, oh, you just have to be more aware, bro. And I'm like... What? That doesn't... I'm like, I feel like I'm so low. I feel like I'm like so bad. And it's unreal. Yeah, I don't know either, man. I don't know.
I think one of the parts that's really hard is like in Melee singles, we're all playing the same game, quote unquote, right? We've talked about this, Toph, but ZAIN, I'll just kind of the way that I think about it or whatever, like literally Melee forces us to play the same game. In other words, like if somebody thinks that being flashy is like the most important thing and somebody else thinks like that doesn't matter, like they can play each other and the game will tell you what actually matters. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that for me, like I definitely wanted, like, yeah, people can have their own opinion about what the game's about and really what's fun for them, and that'll dictate a lot of their play style. And so they kind of, maybe you're not playing the exact same game in that way, but at the end of the day, you're forced to kind of like work to, you have to play the same game in some level. But in a team, when there's a team game, there's one thing, but then even in a team that's like software development or whatever, it's like people aren't necessarily playing the same game. I think that's very frustrating for me. Like, my opinion about why we're coming together and what our goal is and like what's fun is just my opinion at a certain point, and like it's not true that for every team they care about the end product being good. Like, a lot of engineers I know really care about like the technical side of things. Like, they want the end product from their perspective to be really good. Or like, a marketing team might want like the marketing to be good by the book or something.
And the launch.
But for me, I don't care about like any of that. Like, I don't care about, quote, doing product management well or doing project. All I care about is that the end thing is good. And what good means to me is that like the customers like it. And I literally don't care about anything else. Well, I mean, I care about that it's good for the business or whatever. But like, if those two things are true, that's the only thing that I care about. And I find that it's really hard. It's hard for me to like trust and be accepting of other perspectives. I find that really hard.
Be accepting of other perspectives.
Like, if somebody else really cares about, oh, we need to do this technically, or we need to.
I can speak to what my experience has been, which is that I think I'm like you. Like, I care about what I care about from, like, say I'm an engineer. Well, I'm an engineer, or I was an engineer. I'm a streamer now, but yeah, I care more about the engineering side of things up until I go and I talk to them face to face. And so, like, when I was working at Twitch, I worked a lot with finance, and when I was working at Cruise, I worked a lot with our ops teams. And when I'd go and I'd talk to them, it was less about I care about the problem they care about, and for me, it was more I care about this person. So I would be like, they'd come to me and they'd like, bro, this thing sucks. This thing sucks for our contractors. Like, the experience is bad, blah, blah, blah. And maybe I've got all this technical detail in my head, but then I go and I talk to them and I hear that, and I just kind of put myself in their shoes. And I make it way more about the person than about the problem.
Ooh, yeah, that's really good. That's how you play the personal game. I'm not good at the personal game. I don't really like it. I think I have a lot of, but maybe that's the thing. That's the exposure thing, right? I got some anxiety when it comes to it, is I think they're not going to listen or whatever.
I get that sense talking to you, because we talk a lot about kind of like, work stuff.
Yeah.
And I do get that sense coming from you.
Yeah. All right, so that's pretty good.
But you're good at talking to people. You're not bad at talking to people. You're like really personable.
You haven't seen
me
when I'm bad.
Yeah, I haven't seen you bad, but I've seen you when you're good, and I know you can do it. It's like the ZAIN Leffen thing.
Just think about people walking up to me in a tournament, dude. I'm like freaking out.
Yeah, I know, but you've done it.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't get that impression at all.
See?
When people walk up to me in a tournament,
all we see is the ZAIN and Leffen. You're thinking about the ZAIN Wizzy, but all we see is the ZAIN Leffen, where you clutched it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm thinking about the ZAIN Wizzy. Yeah. That's right. But that's cool. No, that's good. I'll think about that. I think I can find a way to make it fun. That's probably that's what I gotta do. Just don't think about it too much.
That seems like the number one objective right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's probably harder in quarantine. It's probably harder remotely.
Yeah. Especially for that specific goal.
I think that's what makes me and you good commentators, though, Toph, because we're totally playing the same game. Or it's what makes us a good commentary team.
Like, yeah.
We really do. I think, like, I always feel like we're on the same page. Like, what we care about is that the people enjoy what we put out. And, like, that's pretty much all that matters. And we have talked about who represents the people. You know what I mean? Like, we had to really think about, like, when we have people saying, oh, Scar and Toph suck, like, who we'll listen to and who we won't, like who it's for. Yeah, it's important. So, and I could imagine that. I mean, totally. I think that some commentators will like totally think that like you have to commentate in a certain way, like you can't have tangents ever or whatever. And like they'll be more like about that, and then we're just playing different games. And like, how can you really work together if you're not working together towards the same thing?
Right.
But like, what would I do if you weren't like that? I think I would just be a worse partner.
Yeah, like, if you commentate, like, speaking as a commentator, it's like if you commentate with someone that cares about Maybe their metric of success is like, you know, they really care about, being technically correct about like whatever interactions or something like that. For me, the way I do it is if I'm commentating with something like that, I just try to make myself care about the thing they're caring about. And
how do you do it?
You try to fit the role.
I try to fit the role.
Yeah.
I try to fit the role. That's right. How do I do it? I think it comes back to the person-to-person thing. I think I try to...
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's what I do. And it's hard because, like, it helps if I know who they are. Like, I've commentated with people where I've just, like, I didn't know them very well beforehand. Like, I commentated with Zets at Paradigm Shift. And there have been, like, my like Zets, that block was pretty good, fortunately. There have been commentators, like newer commentators, that I just didn't know them very well, where I've commentated with them and just the vibe was a little off or whatever. And I think that comes with, like, if I don't know them at all, like, it's hard for me to put myself in their shoes or empathize with them or whatever. But, like,
can I tell you what's so hard about that idea for me, Toph?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, like, say I'm commentating with, Falco Master 252, and they just want to talk about, like, perfect lasers or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I can't... It's like if I thought about caring about Falco Master and, like, you know, caring about what they care about,
yeah,
I can't shape the idea of, like, someone watching and just being, like, so put off by it or feeling like, oh, man, this game's not for me. Like, I don't get what they're talking about. I can't relate. Like, that hurts me so much that I'm unable to, like, sit with that.
Wow.
Like,
yeah.
I need that viewer to, like, feel welcome. I need that to be true. I can't exist if that's not true. I'll kill Falco Master before. You know what I mean? Like, I'm ready to take it to war.
Yeah.
I just can't. I feel like
that might be okay. That might be okay.
Too, I'm thinking about, like, you know, if somebody buys bits and they regret it, like, that was what I was like. That's what keeps me, like, paralyzed or whatever. Like, I can't accept that. Like, I don't want to put a product out there that, you know, people don't like. Like, I don't know. It hurts me.
Yeah.
In my heart. Can't accept it.
That's tough. I don't know. Yeah.
I can't accept it, dude. I'm ready to go to war.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that makes what comes in next is, like, a strong sense of leadership and vision. Like, having that clear to everybody you're working with. It's like, this is the framework with which we're working with.
Yeah.
And, like, everyone has to acquiesce to that standard, and maybe they can bring in a little bit of their own perspective, which is good.
Right.
But at the end of the day, there is some central, like, your vision, right?
Yeah, but then that feels so shitty because it's like, who gets to pick the vision? You know
So
what I
the
mean?
thing is, Bobby, though, the more you relent to other people, the more you show people that I care about what you care about, and I care about what you have to say, the more...
Yes.
It's like an implicit... It's almost like it's fucked up. It's fucked up if they don't, right?
Dude,
if you show people that I care about what you care about, then
you're
they
totally
have
right.
to care about what you care about, and they will. Otherwise, they're like a fucked up person.
Yeah, you're totally right. Because I think, like, okay, this is kind of helping me. Because, you know, Zain was talking about Punish Game, and we know Zain's Punish Game is sick. It's like, okay, you could be good at Punish Game, and you could also be good at, like, when you're getting comboed, like your DI or your defense or whatever. And then there's, like, neutral or whatever. And it's like you have to both be good when it's your moment, but you also have to, like, respect the neutral, you know? And it's like, I don't really want to play neutral. I just want to...
Yeah.
I think what I'm learning over and over is I got to play neutral. But I hate playing neutral. I hate playing neutral because you go the wrong way.
You go the wrong way. You go backwards.
But maybe that's not true. Maybe there's no such thing as backwards. Like, when you dash towards the ledge, it's not bad.
No.
Even though, like, technically you're losing position or whatever. Like, you're not really.
You're not really.
Right?
No. Not in melee, at least.
For some reason, it feels like I don't want to dash towards the corner. Sometimes you have to.
Sometimes you have to.
Yeah.
Maybe I should think that I'm playing Marth, dude, because Marth, I like dashing to the corner. You don't even understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah, for me, I'm perfectly... As long as I'm on the stage, I'm fine.
Yeah, you're like, that's plan A, dude.
Yeah, that's just down there, down tilt zone. It's okay over there.
I'm gonna start dashing towards the corner, dude. I'm gonna start grabbing people.
Falcon's dash dance is good.
Yeah.
It's really good.
It's really good. It's really fast. It's definitely one of the best dash dances.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, this is super helpful for me. I appreciate the tangent.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah, that's a good tangent.
What's next? What's next for everybody?
What do you mean, what's next? Today? Our lives? Rona Rumble's next for you, Zay. You're about to enter a tournament.
It is, yeah.
That you're probably gonna win.
I'm playing Fox.
Oh, you're playing Fox. Oh, okay.
Yeah. I feel a little competitively juiced out after Pound.
That's
where,
right.
like, I feel like, especially because it was net play, it was more taxing.
Yeah. Is HBox entering today?
No, no. It's like a.
It's upper East Coast. Florida's not.
None is entering. Which
no.
should be fun.
Okay.
Odd, Rishi.
That's kind of hard.
Oh, yeah,
that's kind of hard. That's kind of hard.
Yeah. But it's exciting. It's also kind of exciting.
It is kind of exciting. Wow, Zane's
fun.
I kind of want to watch.
Why would it be? Why would it be more competitively taxing?
It's like I don't know. It's net play. You mean?
Yeah, that's surprising to me. I don't know. I wouldn't expect that.
Your mentality, like, you don't want to. Like, a lot of people, you see, like, a lot of people getting tilted by net play. Like, HBox, like, I think gave up in the middle of my set versus him. Like, he was trying really hard at first, but if you, like, watch the VODs, he starts, like, talking to his chat and, like, switches into, like, streamer entertainer. Like,
yeah.
I think he, like, went in with the, even though our ping was, like, 20, I think there was this, like, little seed in his head of doubt that it was like, I'm losing because of net play. And I went into that trying to completely mitigate that. Like, I was like, I'm just gonna ignore that.
That was obvious to me watching. I didn't even watch the sets live. I actually watched them after the fact. But I was like,
I'm playing on CRT, and if I lose, I lose. And so that's how I played. And, like, after that, I was like, God damn it, I was like tired. Like, it was weird. It was a weird feeling, like, more competitively draining than, like, all right, not Genesis, but like some tournaments that I go to in person. And it's weird to, like, play in this. I played here in this room. Like, I hear my brother and, like, sister-in-law downstairs. Like, it was just like,
wow.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah. So for me, net play, if I take a tournament super seriously, it's gonna be more taxing. Like, you'll see Axe on Twitter is getting, like, super salty about net play. Like, justifiably so too. Like, it sucks to, like, miss one little thing and then just lose just because it's not as frame tight. But yeah, it's the reality of the situation we're in, and it's the only way that if this is the only way I can compete right now, then I'm gonna do it. It just takes a little more prep.
Yeah, actually, Melee in particular, we might be bad at this as a community. I feel like all this stuff. I bet that the stuff that, you know, we've been talking about with your mentality, Zane, because it has to do with kind of letting go of some amount of control, is, like, pretty hard for Melee players. Because I bet that people who like things to be highly controlled are drawn to Melee. Like, a lot of the game has to do with, like, how tight things are, how responsive everything is, right? Like, how much control you do have. And I wonder if, like, that's part of what brings us all together and what we really dislike about
lag.
Yeah, like, not knowing if net play is messing with us or not. Like, you can never know. It's every single thing could be, like, a fraction off.
What was talking about that is, like, it's not that it's super laggy. Like, my connection with him was good. It's like, it's the fact that maybe at some point when I'm going for a ledge dash, it's gonna stutter for a second.
Right.
And the sheer fact that could happen makes me unconfident in my ability to go for regular ledge dash.
It's actually,
Wait, so what do you do? Do you actually just do do what feels more comfortable? Yeah. What do you do?
No, I don't try to like play to the lag. I play the same as I do on CRT.
You play the same.
Yeah, and luckily I didn't have any
mishaps.
Yeah, I didn't feel like I had any mishaps. I didn't feel like lag did this to me, lag did that. Like, I just played like I was playing on CRT, which I think worked out.
Yeah, I think you probably have to. That is the difference between, like, you know, like, it's like Melee Online and Ultimate Online is like, Ultimate Online, tons of input delay, right?
You can't play like you're playing on regular.
You cannot.
Yeah.
With Melee, it's close, and I actually think that this is something I remarked on Twitter, is that, like, I think the difference in our game's cultures is that, like, Ultimate, they're almost, like, resigned to it, and when they run online tournaments, they don't do region locking. And I almost think the reason they do that is because it's like every online match they play is so bad that it's just the meta. The meta is you just play different online. There's a different tier list. It's like everything is fucking different. With Melee, we're close. It's close to offline.
Yeah.
And like because of that, that little bit of control we lose really sucks. And it is yeah. The delay's not bad, but there is the chance that you hit that one lag spike. And USD, or you drop your combo, and it's just like, what could have been?
If I missed a pivot versus H-Box, I'm not thinking, oh, lag. Like, I'm just like, shit, I missed. All right.
Yeah.
Like, if I think it's lag, it's just gonna ruin everything else.
I had this a long time ago, not even with lag, but with this used to be a big thing with controllers, where it's obviously way less of a thing now with UCF. But back in the day, it was like, your controller would start. You didn't have the snapback capacitors and all this stuff, right? So it's like, dang, I went for this thing, or I went for shield drop, and oh no, I can't shield drop anymore because whatever. And there was a lot of like, and so that was something I had to learn was like that I was really bad at for a long time was like, at least in tournament, like in the context of a tournament set, I'm gonna assume everything's my fault. After the set's over, after the tournament's over, I can cool off and I can go, okay, I need to fix my control. I need to go, go talk to Typo. There was no Nez back then. It was Typo. Whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever. But in the tournament set, it's my fault. After the tournament set, I could take a step back and be like, maybe there was lag. Whatever. That wasn't my fault.
That worked out. Yeah. Yeah. But there's no room for that in game.
There's no room for that. Yeah. There's no room for that. There's no room for that.
That's interesting. I think there are people who genuinely can play.
Yeah.
And think while they're playing that they're playing bad. And they believe it. Like,
yeah, and it works out for
sure.
them, or...
Yeah, it works out. They're like, oh yeah, I was just playing bad. And then they'll go to the next set. It's a little controversial, but like Shiz comes to mind.
Okay.
Like, but yeah, just like I would see him talk about stuff like that. Like, yeah, I was just playing bad, and then he plays the next set and win it.
Yeah.
And he's like, I was playing good. Like, it's just that simple to some people.
I love when it's simple. I love people who keep things simple.
None comes to mind.
None definitely. Yeah, he. Oh man, he's actually really interesting because he does keep things simple, but he also has like a different way of looking at things. I feel.
He'll say stuff like, "Oh, I just didn't use enough mix-ups." I was like, "What does that mean?"
Yeah, what is that? He does say shit like that. He does say shit like that.
I feel like, yeah. Whenever he talked, like, so I learned how to, because I had a hard time hearing his words. Because I was so focused on what he says, but I feel like if I just look cross-eye at everything that he says, he makes a lot of sense and is actually like kind of weirdly insightful.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like he's pointing at something, like he can't because I think probably what he's talking about, Melee is so complicated, right? You can't say, oh, it's this very specific thing that's like exactly why things went wrong. But I feel like he's strangely accurate, But you can't quite say exactly what it is precisely. But so he just says it like he says it as best he can, and he's usually right.
We know, like for him, he can say that, and like, yeah, he like the Falcon that he's playing as knows.
It does know. Yeah, he's definitely insightful. He's like really tricky, and I think he thinks really deeply about things. And I think it might even be a benefit to him that like the way he thinks, maybe he has like little words that don't really exactly describe what he's, you know what I mean? He just got like loose kind of words.
Yeah.
I think for me and Toph, like we like to have precise. I know you do, Toph, right? You like to know, maybe not to the hacks money level, but you're close to hacks.
Yeah.
Would you say?
Yeah.
But it might be good to have like these, Mango used to talk about babysitting. It's like, what does babysitting mean? And then he'll explain it, and then you'll kind of get it. But it's like he's got little words that aren't so precise. Which
I have some of those for sure. Yeah. Babysitting is when babysitting is like you're edge guarding, but like you go off stage for a bit to like kind of make it so they can't drift into a certain range. Yeah.
That makes sense to me. That's a good term for it.
Somebody in chat said he's an immigrant. I'm so angry because I know if he was here, the whole time I was talking about that, I was waiting for just like the non-response video where it's like, oh, Scar's saying this because I'm an immigrant.
Scar's saying it because I'm an immigrant. Yeah, my English sometimes because I'm an immigrant. It's like, dude, no, your English is fucking perfect. His English is fucking fine.
I think what he's doing is good though. I like that you brought that up, Zain. It's really interesting.
So Zain, you don't think you can do that? You don't think you can sit there and be like, I just played bad?
No, not at all.
Because,
I put the blame on me for my losses.
Right.
Like, I need to see what I can do next.
Right.
If there's a layer of ambiguity, like I just played bad, what does that mean?
I see. You're saying they can like just hand wave it. They're like, that didn't matter. I was just playing bad. And then they're back into it.
Yeah. I don't know if there's ever been a point where I've thought that.
Yeah, I'm not good at that either. Or I'll try to do it. I almost think I'll say, if I try to do that, right? If I try to say that, I'll be like, I was just playing bad. That didn't matter. But in the back of my head, I'll be like, I suck. Like, I'll try to make it seem like that was all in the past. Now I'm gonna play good, but it's like that moment actually just defined my entire skill level, and now I'm terrible and I'm ass.
That's a little bit extreme, but
I'm not saying I mean I'm describing an extreme way, but that's how it would manifest.
So if I really, for literally everybody who thinks that like this is important to think about or whatever, if you're into this as much as I am, I definitely recommend Mastering His Emissary, because it's like we have. So if you get a stroke in one half of your brain or whatever, like you'll still be like conscious, and like you still live a life like consciously with either like operationally, which kind of suggests that we have two consciousnesses that like kind of get, you know what I mean? It gets reconciled, so it feels like one, but there's almost like two brains, you know what I mean? Two like consciousnesses.
Yeah.
And I'm almost having this feeling because I laugh so hard because as you said that, Toph, you're like in the back of the mind, what you were thinking is I suck. And that's so fucking funny. Like the takeaway, like, you're on one hand, you're saying like, oh, it doesn't matter. And then the other, it's like, I am bad. Like I suck. And I wonder if like, if you could just avoid, you know what I mean? If you could just avoid saying I suck. Like we have to do what we have to do. But it's like, as soon as we blame ourselves kind of thing, as soon as we're at war inside, then it's going to be rough. But I wonder, Zain, how often you say you suck. Like at art, you say you suck.
Yeah.
And like at the end of the day, we've learned, like we've already figured out why that's true. Because someone told you that you were average, that you were not taught properly, and you were taught to like be stressed out whenever you have to do art.
Yeah.
Which obviously you think you suck at it.
Yeah, it's also because I was never given the chance to care enough about art.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
But in Melee, I have the sense that even if you thought that you sucked compared to somebody, you'd still be excited to like try to get better to the point where you're as good as them.
Yeah. It's never, it's just like, it's always an opportunity for something exciting.
That's dope. Toph, I bet sometimes when you say you suck, you think that you really suck. When I say I suck, I'm like, damn, I actually am ass. I should not play this game anymore.
Yeah. I mean, I don't.
That's not true. That's not true about you.
It's not true. No. Yeah. It's not that visceral, but as in, it's not like those words pop up in my head, but I feel that way. I feel that way. It's as if those words flash through my head. It's as if. Yeah. All
right, that's the goal. That's the goal. Now, I don't want my kid to think that he sucks at anything. Not in that way, where you have to give up, where it's not even fun to try.
Important distinction.
Okay, so again though, so Zain, what do you, if that was the case, right? Say like, what would you do? You would try to get like I'm gonna try to, like you try to get to the root of it. Say you played poorly in a set or something.
Yeah.
You can't just write it off and say I was just playing bad. What do you do?
I'll tell you my whole process.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
If immediately after I lose, I've said this before somewhere, but I will watch the VOD of me losing immediately the day of that I lost.
Okay.
And I watch it without thinking. I just watch myself lose.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best way to like rip off the emotional band-aid. And like, so that the next time that I watch it, I can feel more like logical about it. Like there's still, it's still
like rip off the emotional band-aid. Can you tell us about that?
Like at Summit when I lost to HBox, like the fucking fuck said, like I literally watched it on Blue. It was sadistic. Like when I think about it now,
I had to do it.
Yeah, I watched the pop off on loop. I was like, okay, feel nothing.
Oh my god.
And obviously I'm not gonna feel nothing. I still feel it to this day. It's still like, but it's not as painful. like it's also kind of funny. Like when I would do stuff like analyze his pop off and stuff. I was like, that's kind of funny. But it let me watch the set with clearer eyes and like see why I lost in that moment, where I got opened up, what went wrong from my perspective. It's like the very specifics of what went wrong in a moment.
How did you know when to stop watching it on loop? I know what you're gonna say.
I felt ready. Yeah.
It's like when you feel full, like when you just feel full. It's like, all right.
It's very that, yeah.
I knew you were gonna say that. I knew for a fucking fact. He's literally talking. I want everybody to know this. You're literally talking about processing your emotions. You're literally talking about digesting your emotions.
Yeah.
You're literally fucking talking about digesting your emotions.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay. So you lose, and it feels bad, and you have an emotional reaction. The emotional reaction is that you don't even want to look at that. You don't want to be associated with that anymore, right? Which is why it's so hard to watch the set. You watch the set on an emotional level, and you let yourself not enjoy watching it until the point where you feel like it's been digested, which is basically like you just don't feel like you're reacting and shit, right? Like you're just watching it, and it's kind of like there's just a different feeling. And then that's when you know that you can switch on your actual mind to like look at it without having all the emotion like in the way.
Exactly.
How did you learn how to do that? That's insane. Because look, I feel like it's crazy because you're actually talking about like, you know, Mr. Spock. If Mr. Spock told humans like how they should behave, you're actually doing like almost everything correctly.
Not quite at that level, but I still feel, like it's not like when I watch it all the time. Like I still feel sad and like.
No, for sure. Yeah, and there's nothing that can be done about that. But you're doing pretty much the most effective thing that can be done, as far as I could tell.
Yeah, like the root of this actually was probably me versus Wizzy at Genesis, because I remember watching that set and I was trying to analyze it just going in, like without doing that. I was like, I can't do this right now. Like, and then I let it sit, and then I didn't analyze that for the longest time. I was like, I can't let that happen. Like, I need to improve at the matchup, and so I did end up just watching that set with my brain off, not thinking about Melee, just thinking about how I felt.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's dope. But I cut you off, so that's only the first part of your process, right? So you lose, you watch it the same day, you watch it till you feel like you digested it, and then.
I mean, that's the analyzing process. But then you're like, that's actually most of it. But then I just feel ready to play again.
So you don't feel like you like watch and you kind of like do you feel like sometimes you watch again and like try to analyze like here's what happened and here's what I could do better?
Yeah, for sure. Like maybe a day after or something.
Do you look for anything in specific? I remember when I was getting better, I just looked for when I hit the other person.
It's simple. Like I think people, for me, analyzing VODs is like pretty straightforward. I think it should be. Where I'm getting my openings, where I was on the stage when I got my openings, where my opponents getting their openings, where they were on the stage.
What does on the stage matter?
Just positioning, like where are the openings being, like what parts of the stage have the most key interactions.
Got it. So you'll notice patterns, for example, like maybe sometimes you'll watch and you'll be like, okay, every opening it's because I was on the ground, they were on the platform, like here, something like that.
Yeah, and then there's also something that's built in more. It's easy to recognize while you're actually playing instead of VOD analysis. It's hard to tap into when you're analyzing your VODs is cadence. But for me, cadence and rhythm is a big part of Melee, and playing off beat to throw off your opponent. Like I see like these super technical foxes in my pools who are really technically sound. They hit their ledge dashes. They're like really low aerials, like the perfect execution. But they have the same exact beat as to when they go in. It's like dun 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 nair, dun 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 nair. I think rhythm is a big part of Melee, and looking for that in your VODs and trying to mix that up as much as possible is like one of the core like parts of the game.
My rhythm's so basic.
You think so?
I definitely think so.
I think Mango saw rhythm.
Yeah.
Like I can't beat that guy by knowing when exactly he's gonna go in. Like it's not gonna work. Same with Johnny. Like everyone from Norwalk is pretty offbeat.
Probably because they had to play Mango, right? You think I think he probably shaped that, because I know that, like, yeah, I wonder if you could even, you just get destroyed by him if you keep getting mixed up by, or if he gets your timing, if he knows your cadence and your rhythm, like, he's just going to destroy you, right?
Yeah. Wizzy, interestingly enough, is very on beat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know exactly what he's gonna do. Like, this isn't even to be BM or anything, but I can like know exactly what he's gonna do at a certain time. But if he hits me, I'm just dead.
I've been there with him. I played him in friendlies for a long time at one of the big houses, and I remember thinking, like, this is the most predictable top player. But I'm still losing. I'm still losing. But I was like, every moment, I'm just like, I know exactly what he's gonna do.
Yeah.
And it made me start thinking, like, man, if I didn't know what he was gonna do.
Yeah.
So good. But anyway,
yeah,
he's already a monster. But
yeah.
I mean, I think it does come from playing Mango or just being around Mango. You idolize or you respect what you see, what you experience around you, right? So even if it's not like they had to do it to beat Mango, they probably thought it was so cool that Mango was doing it that they were like, well, I want, it just instinctively you get good at the same stuff.
Yeah. It's really cool. That's why he's my favorite to play, just because it's not... like, you cannot define his movement.
How's Leffen at this sort of thing?
Good. His Fox is like... I could make, like, a Venn diagram of, like, aggressive Fox and, like, defensive Fox, and he'd be right in the center.
Oh, that's a good place to be.
Yeah, he'd be right in the center, like shifting seamlessly between both affinities.
Mm-hmm. Who are you talking about right now? Sorry.
Leffen.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Like, if I put aggressive Fox, I would put Cobalt, Meds, Mango's Fox is like super on top of Marth, aggressive Foxes. I imagined Silent Wolf. I never got to play him. But from watching him, I kind of get that feeling. Defensive, Kalindi.
Yeah.
Kalindi Armada, super defensive against Marth. Like, very similar style. Cody. Yeah. Yeah. So it's like left and right in the center.
Huh. Crush, defensive.
Oof.
Yeah.
It's weird.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. But it's the kind of thing where you can be like, Mango's pretty much full aggression, but that doesn't mean he's predictable. Like, he still stutters his rhythms.
Yeah. Well, the cool thing is about playing him is that he's on top of you. Dash dancing, literally, this is, no other Falco does this, but he's dash dancing right outside of Marth's Nair.
Yeah.
It's so hard to do as Falco. Like, close up, and like punishing my jumps as soon as I come in for a Nair. And just like, then he knows when to like go back and laser at like weird timings.
Yeah. So he's kind of reading your rhythm at the same time, because like when he stuffs jumps, he's basically kind of trying to wait for your rhythm of like, I'm gonna jump now, or I'm gonna dash now. Yeah.
And when I feel like I'm playing best against him is when I'm playing his game of unpredictability.
Yeah.
Every other Falco, it's just like, I can play the laser game for the longest time. Like, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Like, I have a lot of answers for that. You have to be on top of Marth, and Mango's really good at that.
Yeah, that's interesting. You're kind of saying, it reminds me of thinking about what I was saying about how playing the same game or the different game. Like, some people, you can tell what their opinion is about how you're supposed to play the matchup or whatever. It kind of sounds like when you're talking about Mango, he makes you almost think that he's, you know what I mean? He's playing with that. He's playing on that level of like, what are you even reacting to right now? Like, what are we doing? It's like you think that you're doing one thing, but then he's like not doing what you thought, and you have to be more fluid about it. You got to kind of almost let go of that and just go with it.
Each read I get on Mango is like I feel so accomplished. Like, I'm just like, yes.
I actually remember, I remember, damn dude, this is so toxic, because I remember I was playing friendlies with him a long time ago in my basement on the East Coast. And I remember I got a read on his roll. He rolled back and I kneed his ass. And I actually feel like I kind of I almost like assumed that I got lucky. Like I didn't let myself feel accomplished. But I'll never forget it. So clearly I do feel accomplished because I think it's hard to read him.
But it's so imprinted. That's really
cool.
Cool.
And I'm almost thinking about like probably Zane when you were coming up, like, you know, you have to take those wins. You have to like be like, all right, I did something good there. Because then he mixed it up, but like, and like I couldn't get him again, but like at least that one time means that I'm picking up on something. I should trust it if I get it. If I get it.
Yeah.
So maybe you got to learn how to take things. Got to learn how to take the wins. And then also be okay with like it not working over and over. It's like, all right, you know, you can get it, but then trust that they're gonna mix it up again.
I think that's definitely an important point to mention, is that it's okay to a positive mind. You want a positive mindset, right? You want to take those wins, and
you do, right?
Yeah, like that's we always talk about the negatives and like how to deal with those, but it's also like how to lift yourself. It's important.
Yeah, we actually, Toph, you remember we said that last time? We said you said that you think Zayn maybe like only slightly, what was the word? Slightly overconfident, something like that. Hubris. And we were saying like that's probably good. Like you probably want to be slightly overconfident, like to keep the positivity. Like it needs to keep flowing.
My headphone jack is. You guys keep going. I can't hear right now.
All good.
Can't hear right now. The word I use is hubris. Slight bit of hubris.
Slight hubris. Good. He can't hear us.
Yeah, it's good. He can't hear us.
It's not gonna watch.
Did someone say hubris?
Why would I say hubris?
Wow. It was literally the first thing I heard.
Just a slight bit. It's good. It's good to have a slight bit.
Hubris.
Yeah,
it's good.
I told you about hubris. I told Zayn about hubris.
I think it's good. I'm gonna.
Was that for one of your Wizzy sets?
Yeah, CEO. I was up 2-0. This guy, I can destroy this guy anytime I want.
You literally.
I was charging shield breakers at him. I was like, I'm just in his head, and then he punished me.
I remember it like it was yesterday. That was an important lesson. That was another important ZAIN Wizzy set in the history of ZAIN Wizzy sets.
Yeah. And
now look at you against Falcon.
It's pretty good. There's still something to improve, but it's definitely gotten way better.
It's gotten way better.
Yeah.
I think that's so funny.
Well, I know we're coming to the end of our time here. It's 2:55. Yeah. But I just want to say I really appreciated the opportunity to have this conversation, Zayn.
This was awesome. Yeah, I always
feel like
wanted to do this.
Yeah. I feel like you really were able to articulate, you know, some things that I've been thinking about for a long time. So I appreciate that. I don't know if you feel like, you know, you kind of, I want to give you that.
No, it was good. Usually, this is all like stuff that's internalized, I think.
Yeah.
That I never really talk about.
As it should be.
For some of it, but
that's how it develops, I guess. And it's like, I think that it's really fun when I remember, you know, when I was, especially with Melee, like it was always really fun to be like, oh yeah, how did I do that? And then you just kind of think about it and it's like, oh yeah, I guess I did this, this, and this. I feel like it usually helps. Like if you just take a quick look at something that you do that's internalized.
It reinforces it.
Yeah, it definitely does. Yeah. So I don't know. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, it was fun.
I gotta shift things up. I think that it is good. So, do you ever feel like you don't want a good mindset? You ever feel like you don't deserve it?
You just said two different things to me.
Sometimes I feel like I don't deserve a good mindset, or I don't deserve a good attitude. That's so fucking stupid.
Don't deserve.
Dude, a good attitude is just good. There's nothing bad about it.
Yeah.
Should anybody have a bad attitude? For any reason?
No.
Like only if you really want to.
What kind of goal is that?
Right?
Yeah.
Where do you think that comes from, Bobby?
I think the best I can come up with, I think Brene Brown talks about this, is like you don't want other people to say it first. You know what I mean? Like I don't want other people to tell me that I'm getting cocky before I've already, like, you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Like you don't want to think that you're so good when you're not so good. Something like that. You kind of want to preempt it.
Something I caught myself doing, actually. Something I caught myself doing, I mean, this would turn into a whole other tangent. But something I caught myself doing was, like, I think there were times in the past, like, you know, getting upset at Smash, things like that. I think there were times where I almost let myself fall into a bad mindset because I thought I could get empathy or sympathy from other people.
That too, yeah.
And I think that can come from like imagine you're a kid, or like maybe that comes from like you're like a kid and like you complain or something, and your parents like they cave and they give you attention or something like that.
Yep.
I think that was something I kind of thought about a lot at one point, was like, I think there's times when I like have a bad attitude about stuff, and I think it's because I'm like looking for sympathy. And then once I kind of had that thought, I was like, okay, well, I'm glad I kind of noticed that about myself. I want to have a good mentality all the time, but
that's filthy. Yeah, we're gonna have good mentality, so if it's gonna happen,
it's gonna happen.
You got to not fixate on the outcome. Who wins and who loses is not a big deal. But you know what's so fucked up? I keep thinking about this. I just have to say this. I keep thinking about like, okay, so if we practiced our tech skill to the point where we knew it was perfect,
yes,
and you don't have to think about it, that makes everything else so easy.
It does make everything else so easy.
You just do your ledge dash, and if you die, then you can say, oh, well, it's probably net play.
Yeah.
If it wasn't, then you would have done it right.
Yeah, and if you miss it more, and then you're kind of like, all right, I'll just go practice this later.
But fuck, man, I'm not perfect with anything. I mess it up sometimes. You're telling me you don't mess your shit up? What's your success rate? It's like 100?
Me?
Functionally.
Yeah, on some things that are hard.
No.
Not
100, but like pivots, I do not track my success rate, but I feel like I kill HBox pretty often with a pivot.
Pretty often, yeah. You miss sometimes,
more than
but not.
I miss sometimes, yeah.
But not, yeah.
Yeah.
He's just not. Toby's not worried about it. I want to know what the exact percentage is. Why?
80 something.
Something sadistic, dude. I gotta let go of that. Yeah. Who cares?
Yeah.
I gotta practice what it feels like in the hands. Did it feel like it was right?
Hey Zain, I have a random, not that important, but melee question I'm just wondering about. I was watching panel. I watched the sets, and there was one because we're talking about these pivot tippers. There was one moment where I noticed HBox was DIing down and away on your forward throws, and I was like, "Oh, is that bad? Is that bad for Zain? Is this the end of the? I mean, you still kind of wrecked him, but you got the follow-ups for all the DIs, or is it like?"
I haven't labbed. Well, so when I used to play Jerry's Puff, because he played Puff for a while.
Yeah.
He would he just didn't mess up. Like, it's not hard. So, like,
I don't think it's not hard for It's not hard for you, or it's not hard for the Puff.
For the Puff. Like, I mean, I had to DI down and away at Martha is.
Yeah, so if the Puff DIs down and away, what happens? Do you get a follow-up?
The Katana has a percent range where you can you can get wave dash down smash, you can get up smashes on certain DI.
Right.
You can get running down tilts, running forward smashes. So the hard part is it's so hard to react to that. Because if you're priming yourself to go for the pivot F smash, but he ends up DIing down and away, it's kind of have to guess the DI.
Right.
I don't think you can get on reaction. But I mean, I think that is a big fix for him. Like, it's such an easy fix. And
that's what everyone's been saying for
I don't feel uncomfortable saying that because sure, I'm down for the challenge. Just start DIing my throws. There's also a bunch of other stuff he could do in the matchup. Like, right now, I feel like I'm at a point where the HBox that was winning Game 5 versus me last year, if that's the state he's at, I think I'm going to be on not net play. I think I'm 3-0ing that person every time, just because of the changes I made for sharking Puff, my punish game extensions, how he operates at percent levels. That's the way I feel, but there's so many things he can change.
Right. It's just, will he?
Yeah, I don't think for ZAIN anything will be the end. Right, because they'll just start playing
That's not what I'm asking. Yeah, that's not what I'm asking. But I just thought it was funny. I was like, he DI down it away. I was like, oh!
I think I said something.
Where was that for the last 3 years?
I think I was playing. I was like, nice DI.
Nice DI, yeah.
No, but I appreciate that you asked that question too, because that's pretty interesting, right? It's like the biggest threat, and how you're thinking about him evolving, and it's super interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've all been saying. I don't know. We've all been saying it. interested to see.
It's so funny to hear Levin talk about it because he gets angry.
He
He's
does.
like, it's so easy. He's like,
it's not that hard.
It's not.
It's like
you can do it while holding crouch.
Yeah.
Like the position. Yeah.
Yeah.
It could be his mental stack. He might have so much on his I have no idea what that guy's thinking. So.
Me neither.
You know what I mean? Like I feel like I don't read too much into it with him just because I know that I'd have no fucking idea what's going on. I'm just so lost. He's just playing a different game, man.
Yeah, I don't know. I have to DI the fucking up throw. The up throw is like the fastest. The puff up throw is like the fastest throw.
Yeah, that's harder.
Yeah.
That's harder.
I don't know. Well, Foxes miss it. Foxes do miss it.
Thank you all for watching.
Yes.
This has been
Thank you for having me. It was
dude,
really fun.
no, thank you for having us, dude. Good luck at Ronar Rumble today.
Thank you.
You guys keep talking. I just have to go, and I wanted to say.
I actually gotta go to you because I think bracket is starting.
I'm gonna stay online for a little while, and I'm gonna do two things. I'm gonna shout out our patrons. I'm gonna read this after Bobby. I'm gonna thank all of you guys, and then I'm gonna do some. Spencer made this graphic for me. Thank you, Spencer, for making this graphic. I'm gonna read all of our patron shout outs. Bobby, maybe you can just do the two big ones before you go.
Yeah.
The two billionaires. Can you see it?
No.
Fuck me. All right, let me do this. Let me copy image and then let me send it to you on fucking. Look at that. What do you think about that? Processing uploaded file. There you go.
Thank you. So, are we going?
Yeah, just yeah.
Federico Vargas and IGP, the Billies.
Hell yeah. I could take it from here, Bobby, but thank you.
And everybody else. I mean, look at all the homies.
The homies.
Thank you all so much.
Yeah, the oh god, there we go. Yeah, and I'm so stick around. I'm gonna stay online, read these, and then I'm probably gonna go watch East Coast Ronar Rumble, which I think is gonna be on Brandon's channel.
That's it for me and Zane.
Yeah,
right, take it away.
Thank you guys.
Later, guys.
Peace. All right. Okay. Getting right to it. Also, you know what I think I'm gonna do after this? For those of you that sub today, I'm gonna read. Let me read those first. Actually, Breaks Kid 1, $5 to the PayPal. He said, "A, thanks to the Inspirational Falcon, and thanks for saving Melee. Favorite player equals Scar still." Scar was looking at chat, so I'm sure we just try not to. We don't do the reading out. Subs and donos while we're doing the show, just because it's distracting or whatever. But yeah, thank you so much, Breaks Kid, and to the people that subscribed today. Sky D Ninja, Josie Jam, Funkmaster 13 for the resub, Steezy Hooligan, Kirk of Hazard 2, and okay, that was yesterday. Awesome, that's good. I didn't want to read that one out loud, but thank you for the subs. And to our Patreon subscribers, everyone who's subbed on Patreon, all you guys are wonderful. Patreon.com/thereads. We can't do the reads, obviously, in quarantine. It's just it's a tough time for us. But all of you guys who are subscribed on Patreon, put myself up here. Federico Vargas, IGP, Bobby got to you guys, but then a Bag of Viking and Alpha Rad. Can't believe Alpha Red has been such a high-level supporter of the reads for so long. David Seelman, Nick Goodman, Robert Choi, Sylvanarith Duke, Truth's Advocate, and then Aiden White, Alex Strong, Amelin Yangar, Andrew Strout, Anthony Del Valle, Brad Schaefer, Brandon Glenn, Braxton Hall, Brian Melanson. There's a lot of these, actually. Callum Bisping, Chris Lodon, Colin D. Millet, Colton Kunzman, Connor Familton, Daniel Ince, Darren Genji, founder of the esports team Genji, undoubtedly, Darren Genji, Dev2000, Duncan Smith, Eric Rhodes, Fernando Cavadang, Frank, Gavin, Happy SSBM, Henry Sandstorm by Darude, Hunter Cross, J. Michael Bunying, Jake Saburin, Jericho, JJ Guns 98 John, Solon, Joseph Kuhn, Joshua B, Kevin McGuffin, Lava, Marco Eilers, Mark Nauta, Martin Russo, Matt Perez. I worked with a guy named Matt Perez. Matthew Cashwell, Max Golden, that's kind of a cool name. Michael Saltzman, Mr. Naps, Mr. Ice-T, Nathan Elder, Nara, Nick Bequiccio, Omni, I wonder if that's Inferno Omni. Paul Bolerman, Robert Hornberger, Sean Sanchez, Son Tichen, Shaman Frank, that's no way that's your real name. Shiv Mangru, there's even less way that's your real name. Simon Sver, Skylar Sokol, Timothy Yang, Travis Bieda, Zachary Rice. Do they all fit in the graphic? They sure do. All right, these are smaller. Hang on, I gotta blow this up. Oh damn. Okay, here we go. Adam King, Akshay Nevada, Alexander Tape, Alonso, Andrew Watts, Anthony Graniado, Bear Kidney, Benjamin Naftali, Bob Bobbler, Bob Bobbler, Bradley The Flames, Brandon Hashk, Brian McCarthy, Caleb Marty, Chewy, Christian K, Cliff S, Colby Morgan, Cooper Grosscup, hey Cooper, Cormoni Dot, Daladex, the homie, Daniel Levi, Dark Baca, David Luftglass, Ellis Foreman, Ethan Adams, Felix Lemieux, Gabriel Eritzia, Isaac F, Isaac Sutton, Jackson Brodderdorp, James Hill, Jarrett Vandenberg, Jedediah Lane, Johannes Christensen, Jonathan O'Farrell, Kai Mullerud, Kratos, Lanny, Logan Manzine, Luke Nicholson, Mark Gaskin, Matthew Chang, Matt Mascolo, Matthew Warblow, MCs, Melvin Pastrana, Miles Frankel, Muku Muku, Nathan Stevick, Noah Beisel, Nunn, with an O, so it might not be the same Nunn, I'm not sure. Omangutan, Patrick Hickey, Paratush Trivedi, Robert McMahon Lovell, Ronald Nixon III, Sam Irvin, Samuel Wooliver, Scrooge McFuck, Seth, Shane Quo, Simon Yan, Slightly Older Rue, Sonic, Spencer Christian, Stuart Synot, Toothless Barry the Whistler Bostovitz. That is a fucking ridiculous name. Toothless Barry the Whistler Bostovitz? Jesus. Tim Baker, thank you, Tim. Tim Rallins, thank you, other Tim. Vince H, Wave Dash, the concept of wave dashing itself. Will Hahn, Wyatt McIllis, Zachary Allen, Julian Tennyson, Fred Meyer, that's like a store. Alton Higgins, Cabrid, Gentle Fox, Carmajolt, Samuel Anderson, all stores. Oh, Ali Stores, Andrew Lazar, Andrew Wan, Caleb Robinson, Chris Estrada, Christian Fogarty, Connor Haskell, Dawson Dayton Shackelford, Dosh Daddy, D Shoe 89, shout out to 1989, Frankie Redfern, Jacob Barons, James Daniel, Jason Pegas, Conrad Funk, the homie, Logan Hickey, Luis Harris Smith, Luis Montemayor, Luis Sanquirico, Marcus Tender, Matt, Michael Kissinger, Miguel Crespo, Mike Buckleman Coman, Nasser Alkimlis, Nasser, the homie, Nyquist, Rob Poliseno, Russell McCormick, Sean T. Martin, Sean Nong, Taylor Svarthamla, Ticket, Vape Dragon, and Zara Impala. Thank you to all you guys. Oh my god.